Good evening. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all doing okay on this very, very wet and rainy Sunday evening over here. A few things to talk about. And for anybody who has anything to talk about too, please remember that tonight is a, as you see here, live studio. Jump in and out as you please. So if you want to just come in and hang out with me for a few minutes or as long as you want, or if you have something you'd like to talk about and bring up, just let me know. Actually, I've been so behind, guys. I've been so behind that all week, just been busy. I didn't even schedule my show or even create the thumbnail for tonight until 3.5 hours ago. You know, yeah. So I even I'm gonna, as we do this live here, I'm actually gonna go to the YouTube in my other browser. I don't know if you can. Can you do that while you're live? I don't know if you can. Shit. Okay, you might not be. I don't want to try it because it might screw things up. But yeah, anybody who would like to pop in tonight, please let me know. I would be happy to have you. Any of you, any and all of you are invited to pop in. And here, I don't usually like doing this inside the publicly inside the chat, but I'll take the risk. Here you go. If anybody wants to pop in with me tonight, yeah, that's the link. And I guess since I've been so frazzled and behind on everything, I forgot to pop the link into the down below in the description of the video. Is Cove here tonight? Cove, if you're here, can you let me know? Do you know if I try through YouTube, going through YouTube? Do you know if I try going through YouTube to on the back end to add the link while we're streaming? Do you think that would screw things up? Let me know, anyways. Let me see who is here tonight. Marcus was the first one here and 29 minutes early. What's good, Marcus? Tom, as always, what up? What up? Hanging tough. I don't know what that means. But step by step, ooh, baby, gonna get to you, girl. Oh, I got the right stuff. #1 NKOTB fan, nice. Hey, Vivian, thank you for the support, honey, as always. I appreciate it. Goo, what's good? What's happening, Goo? Let's see. Hellos back and forth. Stingray, the man. CJ, what's good, CJ? How you doing? How you feeling this week? Another week gone by, slowly but surely getting better, hopefully. And Newell, of course, the man. And what else? Who else? Jason Ladwig, my friend. What's good, Jason? Good to see you as ever. A pleasure, my friend. A pleasure. And who else? The same folks saying hi to each other. Peter Rowe, what's happening, my fellow Compulsed One? Peace, brother. What's a Rubén read the Jeffrey Allen love comic? Have you, Marcus? Have you? I don't know. Good to see you, Goo. Good to see you. Finally, the entertainment has arrived. What's good, Mike at NSN Art? Everybody, please check out nsnart.com if you want to check out a print that Mike is selling. Sorry, I don't have the link to the print, Mike. But go to nsnart.com. That's where it is. And you should check out this print that he's doing. If you're into prints, it's by this artist that he got commissions from in the recent past few months, called Scene, that a guy that he checked out, discovered on Instagram. Beautiful artwork. And yeah, he's collaborating with him to do a print. So check that out if you can, please. Cheer up. You good? I'm good. I just got a little bit of bad news. I'll get to that. I just want to say hi to everybody. Tell us how your week in art has been. I'll get to that too. Yeah, that'll be part of it, Tom. Hellos and a proper hello from Kavi. What shows, movies, trades? Yeah. I will keep my movie list here so I don't forget what I might have to talk about here. Peter Kavi. I notice that I always read them. Hey, Kavi. And Rubén is paying $20 for pop-ons? What's pop-ons? What's a pop-on? What's a pop-on, Tom? Let me know. If it's worth it, I'll pay the $20. We always show up. I know you do, Tom. I appreciate that. You know that. Keep the likes coming. I appreciate you too, Goo. Yeah, please, if you don't mind. If you are here watching, there's not a big crowd so far. There's, it's only 7 minutes into the show. You know how that works, guys. Everybody sort of strolls in slowly because they know we're just kind of, saying hello to you guys, chatting with you guys in the chat for the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Yeah, if you're here watching, a couple of dozen so far, please, if you don't mind, hit that like button, the thumbs up icon right below here. I have no problem telling you that it's for encouragement. Doesn't give me any money, just encourages me. That's it. Encouragement for me and for the hobby at large. Because if I can keep doing this, then I not to pat myself on the back, but there's not many of us who do this stuff. So the more choice we have, I think the better it is for the hobby. So if you encourage me, then it's encouragement for the hobby. And you don't have to do tonight if you're not feeling it. No, I'm going to do tonight. Just I gotta get some bad stuff out of the way first. I'm on the phone tonight right now, so I can't really experiment, but I think once you're live you can't edit. Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want to chance it anyways. Yeah, I don't want to take a risk in case it somehow screws up the live stream, So Sean, hey guys, popping in to watch for a bit while I do some printing for work. Sounds good. Hey Sean. Sean, I've got some sad news to report. Not related to you, Sean. At the same time, I could make a brief mention about your news, Sean. Is it okay to mention it, Sean, or would you rather me not mention it? Not really sure where you stand on that, Sean, so let me know, please. Back on antibiotics. Oh man, sorry to hear that, man, Chris. Wow. But I'm happy at least you're going to see a specialist, man. Shit. Hopefully the setback's just temporary and you get back on track soon. Oh man. Prince. What happened to Prince? Prince hasn't been around since 2016, April. Remarks available. There you go. Wow, Mark's issues with Archie. First time here, right? Unless you changed your name. Welcome, Mark's Issues with Archie. Glad to have you. Hello to you. Everybody, say hi to Mark's Issues with Archie. It's first time. Come on, be nice. Well, we always welcome all the new people. And hey, laughing. Tom's busy laughing. Almost a 700 channel subs. Be cool if we could get it to. Don't worry, it'll come on its own. And actually, I was at 691. I got one yesterday. It was my first one this week, Tom. And then today I checked, and they took it away. It went back to 790. And Jesus Cabrera, New York Mets fan. What's good, Jesus? What's happening? Hey, Steve, my Ottawian friend. What's good, B&G? You're early tonight. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Appreciate you, pal. You know that. Any help, man. Any help I can do that for sure, man. I'm happy to do it. So hey, you doing good, Sean? Hi, B&G and Jesus, great to see you. Hey, it's fine. I posted the news. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate your time and effort, information you provide. I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for being here. You've become a regular, and I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you not just showing up regularly, but also being very willing to be very interactive from within inside the chat room, you know? So that means a lot to me too. Yes, sir. First time Mark's Issues with Archie Comics. Are you a comic art fan though? Not that it matters tonight, because Hangout episodes, the Hangout series, in case you don't already know, Mark, I'm assuming your name is Mark, is kind of like the one series where like anything goes, literally. So we talk about movies, comic art, sure, if there's something to talk about, but television shows, movies, anything, everything and anything going on in our lives, whatever, you know, whatever anybody wants to talk about. Comics, whatever, man. And hopefully we'll do some comics and movies tonight. We'll see. What's your issue with Archie? I love Archie. I'm betting he just collects Archie. And there you go, Jason. Being nice, first to congratulate or to say hello. I love that. Same for you. Thank you, Kavi. Appreciate it. Goo, same to you. And Peter, appreciate that from all of you. And Corey Rust, what's good, Corey? And oh yeah, well, you know what though? From even on my larger kind of monitor, I'm on a PC monitor. I actually can't see on your pic, you know, your avatar. I don't really see what it is. I just, yeah, I see some color. I see kind of, I don't know, like triangles beside each other. Yeah, I can't immediately see what that actually is. Sorry, man. And that's what I was responding to, of course. Hello, hello, hello. Uh-oh, Corey's here. Okay. So yeah, so a couple of bits of information I just wanted to pass along, everybody, for anybody who doesn't already know. So first of all, I was really, really busy this week, and that's why I didn't have an idea of what kind of a design for a thumbnail I wanted to have for tonight, literally until 3.5 hours ago, let alone have the thumbnail already made and ready, you know. And then I just got down to business and I did it. About 4 hours ago, I had just finished reading the first 2 issues, the only 2 issues so far, of a brand new comic called News from the Fallout. And it's illustrated by Jeffrey Allen Love, who has for some time been doing some really cool illustrations that he sells through Felix. And now my daughter is coming to see me. Hi, honey.
It's someone that I follow that reads comics. He's talking about News from the Fallout.
Really?
Yeah.
So my beautiful 16-year-old daughter came to my door of my office only because she heard me speaking, and she says that somebody she knows that she follows on what, Instagram or something? TikTok? Of course, she's 16. It has to be TikTok. The geezers don't hang on TikTok. But somebody she follows on TikTok mentioned that he's been reading News from the Fallout, right? Yeah. Did he say it was good?
Yeah,
he really liked it. Yeah. Thank you, honey. People miss you. People haven't seen you on the channel since you were like 12. So she says hi to everybody. Yeah. Oh, okay. She says she can't come on camera because she just finished crying over her show she's watching. What show? The Summer I Turned Pretty. Thank you. Someday I can hopefully convince her to come on and do a special episode, you know. But anyways, yeah, so four hours ago or so, I finished reading the first 2 issues of News from the Fallout. And because it was fresh on my mind, I was like, okay, I got to get down to brass tacks. I gotta get a thumbnail made for tonight, you know. And I was thinking, no joke, and it was coincidence. I was like, what do I do for tonight? Like, what do I want in my background? That's always the first thing I'm thinking of, is what's my background going to be for, you know, a hangout episode where anything goes. And I was like, I don't know what color. I tend to think in terms of colors. And I was like, what color should I do this time? What color scheme should I go with? And I was like, what about, and it might have been subconscious because I just finished reading the comic, but I was like, yeah, what about gray and black? What about something darker tonight, you know? And then I was like, oh, what about if I use some art from News from the Fallout? And then I was like, wait a second. News from the Hangout. Whatever we talk about tonight is technically news from our Hangout. So that just fit perfectly. It was so cool. And so that's why I just changed here, as you can see. I basically used a very similar logo and just changed the word fall to hang, and it's News from the Hangout. And yeah, used some artwork for the backgrounds from Jeffrey Allen Love, which is pretty cool. And I love look what the guy at the top left corner is saying. So that also fits as well. Pretty cool, right? So yeah, so that's what I did, you know, right on time, because I did come. I went live right on time at 8 o'clock. And yeah, so we'll talk about that. But before we do, a couple of bits of news from the Fallout. Hold on, I don't want to fall behind because there's another 20 comments. JAL fan, what's I don't know what JAL is, so you're gonna have to let me know. I'm not really up on, you know, people using acronyms for everything. It's just I'm not sort of thinking that way. Nudes for the call out. I'm in if you're in. CJ says hello. Kavi says hello, Arwin. Carlito, what's good? Murdoch, what's happening, man? Mind blowing. Nice. You're talking about the news from the Fallout, I hope. Hi to you, Kenneth Bird. What's happening? Nude, so I can hang out. Oh, you're nude, so you're hanging out nude tonight. Nice. Rubén better than Weird Al. I don't know what one has to do with the other, though. So I guess I'll take the compliment. I don't know. Is it a compliment? It's kind of weird. I was meant to be. And I'll see. I'm behind. Read the Cadence lawsuit live. So some news finally came out. There's some. You can read something about that. Wow, interesting. I haven't heard anything. Lonearranger. Wow, another new person. Hello, original art collector. Just found this site, this channel. Thank you, Lone. It is Lonearranger, right? Yes. Play on words to the Lone Ranger. Nice. I like that. Welcome, Lonearranger. Always love new people, as you can see by the way I'm speaking to you. This channel is very, very interactive with, well, between me. Whenever I have guests, I have no guests, as you can see now, but whenever I have guests, it's not only myself and the guests who speak, but I am always very interactive with you guys in the chat, because the premise of my entire channel is to make it a show for everybody and about everyone. So yeah, so I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy, man. Yeah, thank you for, I'm glad you found it, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And by the way, just want to let you know, I know this sounds probably weird to you, because I'm going to go the opposite way that everybody else on YouTube goes. I'm going to say, no need to subscribe. I've been making, other than the first 3 months of my channel, I've been making very strong efforts over the last 3 years or so to tell people to not subscribe unless they are sure they want to kind of tune in, whether it's live or watch on rewind later on. I just want as many of my subscribers to be viewers. I want quality subscribers, not quantity. So I want to keep my numbers low and, you know, keep them as much as possible to only the people who actually watch the content. So yeah, maybe watch a few shows or whatever before you decide. And if you think you're going to keep watching at least semi-regularly, then I'd appreciate a subscribe. That'd be cool. All right, man. So thank you very much. And it's coming, my friend. It's coming. Artist of the book, JAL. I'm sorry, but what I'm saying is, what's JAL? Oh, okay. I see. I just say Jeffrey Allen. I don't, like I said, I'm not used to thinking of everybody. I know we do DWJ, right? Like some of them, yes, but I don't do it for all of them. I know, Marcus, I know, but I'm not a kid at heart, but I'm too old for this shit. And a hello from Cove and Jason again. Awesome. Love it, guys. Love it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Hey, man, we make friends fast here, you know, so that's what I love about it. The friendliness, the camaraderie, that's what makes it, you know. Most interactive channel on the web. I would think so. I've never seen one that does what I do. So thank you, CJ. And I'm sitting here thinking, JL, Japan Airlines. Justice Alien League. Yeah, I was thinking thinking about some title or something, you know? Would be unstoppable. Oh, boy. Oh, and you're from the UK. Wow, you're up late. Or are you in the UK? You're up late, Lone Ranger. Hyger, what's up, Hyger? Hey, if you want to pop in, feel free, Hyger. Everybody's welcome tonight. Since I'm saying it here, I will pop in the link for anybody who would like to click that link and pop in and hang out with me. No, Stanley, no, Hal Apeno. Nice. No Matt Kennedy tonight. No Matt Kennedy. I mean, he may pop in later. I don't know. I'm not his keeper, so I don't know where he is at all times of day and night. Yes, that's okay. There you go. That's what I'm saying, my friend. That's what I'm saying. I knew that if you were indeed living in the UK, that it would be 5 hours from me, so 1:22 a.m. You should know, my friend, that we have another friend of ours here who it comes in. I haven't seen him tonight yet. He goes by the name Pad Bear, and he is. I think he said Wales or Scotland, but somewhere in that area. And he sometimes shows up and he hangs out with us. And for him, he's still hanging out with us sometimes when it's like 4 or 5 in the morning. It's insanity. I don't know how he does it, but it's so appreciative. You know, I'm so appreciative of that. It's just incredible. I love all the love from people all over the world. We get people from, you know, Japan, Australia, Singapore. I mean, everywhere really. So hey, might do that. Sounds good, man. And no pressure either. I get it. World Timekeeper. Yeah, yes. Paddington is British. Yes. So okay, before don't make you're these are, yes, that's the other thing you need to know. For the 2 new guys who popped in tonight for the first time, you might not have noticed if you didn't peer around my website for my other videos. My live streams tend to go anywhere from 3.5 to 5.5 hours. But of course, you stick around as long as you want, or as briefly as you want. That's okay. Never be shy to come and go as you please. But I always appreciate when you leave. Just say bye, so we know that you're not here anymore. Thanks for the reminder on that, Goop. And hey, Ilya, wow, another guy who hasn't been here in a little while. Good to see you, my friend. Stay here long enough, and it's 1:22 every time zone. That's true. That's very true. Okay, before you guys, I'll start talking before you guys get too ahead of me. So some of the sad news I wanted to report. Number one, our friend Sean, who is here with us tonight, Sean Clancy. His dad passed away on Tuesday. And so very, very sorry again, Sean, to hear that. It's very sad. Thankfully, as Sean mentioned to me, it was not unexpected. I've always, you know, having gone through, you know, a lot of deaths in my life as well, of all kinds, expected, unexpected, yeah, in all types of ways. I know how it is to go through it, and yeah, so I had reached out to Sean, actually. That's how I found out. about Sean's dad is because I had, you know, we spoke through email or whatever, and then, you know, he told me about his dad, and I was like, oh shit, you know, shocked, and I said, and he said, you know, maybe I can do something. Maybe I'll jump in on Sunday night. You know, you know, find a way to get my mind just sort of just distract myself from what's going on. You know, and I said, you know, obviously you're always welcome to show up on Sunday if you want. But having gone through this stuff myself, and it's still so fresh, it's only been 5 days or so. I told Sean, you know, again, you do what you want. Obviously, you're welcome. But personally, I don't. I feel like this type of thing, like where it's live and so public with so many people, not what I would maybe, you know, not the way I would maybe choose to try to get your mind off stuff. It's a bit much, you know. And we're going to be laughing and talking a lot, or trying at least, you know. So that's it, everybody. That's the deal with Sean. So yeah, so thank you for everybody for. Yeah, I know, Matt, about that. Yeah, I told everybody earlier. I've been so frazzled all day and all week. Really, it's been busy, and I forgot to add it. So I've added it twice into the chat. So yeah. So thanks everybody for passing along your condolences. Maki's dad passed away too? Oh, shit. Is that true? Is Maki with us tonight? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Wow, man. Two friends' dads. Wow, in the same week, man, within days. Wow. So sorry to hear that, Michael. Man, I hope you're not here with us tonight. Wow. Yeah. Really sad. And the news, that's okay. So 2 bits of bad news, everybody. There's another one I got to talk about as well. Let me get through this first. Hey, Dwayne's a pain. And there you go. That's very nice of you, Mark. Thank you. Maki's dad. Wow. Wow. Thanks, guys. Wow. Yeah, all the best to everyone involved. So yeah, like I was saying, everybody, and I know Matt, you just popped in, and thanks. Let me just get through this, and I'll be with you. All right. So one third one I have to mention, and this one I guess also hits close to home, and for some of you may hit even closer to home. I'm not really sure who of you were closer to him, but I just got word, I think not even 2 hours before I went live, that our friend Dan T passed away. You guys, most of you would know him better. Kavi, I don't even know if you know. I met him through Kavi's channel when Kavi was doing regular content a few years ago. Dan T, better known as Bootlegging is a Habit, passed away this week. I wasn't told what day it was. And apparently a long battle with cancer. So I've been kind of shell-shocked since Mikhail, it was Mikhail who passed along the news to me a couple hours ago. And so which I really appreciate that, Mikhail. Because of course I want to know and I want to tell everybody. But I've been shell-shocked since I got that email, because, you know, I will be honest, Dan and I were not what I would call friends. We're not close. Like I said, I met him when I was when I first met Kavi, and I started, you know, being a regular in Kavi's the live chats of Kavi's shows. And you know, and he was one of the guys that would come in, drop in, and you know, he was one of Kavi's guys. That's how I knew him. And then over the last couple of years, he started showing up here in my chat from time to time, and we interacted here. And he's always a good dude. We've had some laughs together. I'm really happy to say we had some laughs, but he and I never ultimately got to know each other in any closer way. I don't think we might have shared an email once or twice, briefly, but that's it. Yeah, it is absolutely. But that's it. But we weren't closer than that. Than really the full extent of his and my relationship in terms of chatting together was right here on my channel. So I'm glad, for whatever it's worth, that whatever communications Dan and I did have was usually good back and forth chatter. And I think he was within the last 2 or 3 shows. I think it was him. Was it him? It might have been him who kind of told me off, because I mistakenly said that Blood In, Blood Out was a movie that took place in the 50s, when I meant to say, there's a scene that took place in the 50s. And he kind of told me off about it, which is good, because I do want to be correct, especially because I love that movie so much. So Kavi says, yes, I knew Dan. Was looking through my photos I've taken of him at NYCC and other shows the last few years. Today, sad day for the hobby and community. Okay, so you already had heard about it. All right, good. But I figured a lot of people wouldn't know. So yeah, shocking. He seemed young and healthy. Yeah. Does anybody, Kavi, do you happen to know how old was Dan? I have no idea. Yes, indeed, Goo. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Condolences to everybody. All the extended families and friends of all the people who have departed this past week, for sure. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Very sad indeed. Oh, he definitely seemed like a cool dude, for sure, and just a great guy in our community. Oh shit, it figures. Thanks, Robert. Hey, how you doing? So that's what took my dad, Robert. That's what took a very good close friend of mine's dad. That's what took my brother-in-law's dad, and that's what took the fathers of a few other friends. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, that's the silent killer, that one. Oh man, they don't know exact age, but cancer fucking sucks. It definitely does. Definitely does. So yeah, man. May you rest in peace, all to the 3 gentlemen who've departed. And if there is anything out there, then hopefully I'll see you on the other side at some point. Yeah. So there you go, everybody. So that's I know a crappy way, obviously, of starting off a show, but I also, you guys know, right? Like, I've talked about it a lot on various different episodes of various, of my various different series. When I've talked a lot about my effort or my desire that I could, try to stop collecting, and my reasons for that, and ultimately, you guys know that when I stop collecting, I'm my desire, if everything worked out, would be to be able to also start selling it, the collection off. Of course, keep some stuff, but the majority I would want to just sell off. And my reasons, it always has to come down to, like, what I've gone through in my life with health, things that have happened, like that has happened to the 3 gentlemen we've mentioned tonight. And this is just, once again, another reminder, a stark reminder of why I even though I'm, kind of failing miserably with the attempt so far, it's why I still keep trying in my head. It's more a mental thing than anything else. It's you're doing something you love your whole life, something you've done for decades. So it's hard to just stop doing it. But it's a mental struggle for me, of course. But I'm still intent on doing it. So you can laugh, everybody. Certainly, you have the right to laugh at it. I got some close friends who keep laughing at me and say, "Yeah, you're never gonna stop, whatever." But whatever. I'm gonna keep trying to convince myself. It's something I got to do. And this is why I don't, you know, I want my girls to be taken care of and not have to worry about, all my collecting and my collections and whatever. If I should suddenly become ill myself or pass unexpectedly, you know. Downer to come in on. I know for sure, TJ. What's up, man? Patrick, and then there we go. Yeah, exactly. Patrick Swayze, exactly. I believe Michael Landon, who passed away either right before my dad or right after my dad. I think it was in the same year, 1988. From Little House on the Prairie, who was kind of like a second dad. He felt like a dad to me because I grew up on that show, Little House on the Prairie. Too many. But it's all cancers, right? All cancers and all illnesses that take us away and the people that are close to us. No, I get that, Marcus, but you know what? It's not even about that. I would rather do it. I want to be in control of it because, as you know, don't forget, the very big bulk of my collection is really made up out of two artists, right? And it's not two artists of the popularity level and demand level of like your Jim Lees and your Todd McFarlanes and whatnot, and your Peach Momokos, you know. So it would be very, very difficult to move my collection because it would take a long time, right? Without for obvious reasons, it would take a few years for me to slowly but surely sell it off, maybe several years. It's definitely best that I do it myself because you know what will happen if I send it to auction. Initially, that's what I figured. I'll tell them to send it to auction. But then I think, gosh, with all that stuff from the same two artists, like, they will kill me. They don't care, right? They just want to recoup the money. They want to get their share as quickly as possible. And they don't care about killing the market. So they'll put way too much of that stuff all at the same time, and it'll kill it. So I'd like to do it on my own. Harrison Ford movie, dear Lord, Star Wars, I guess. Yeah, but you kept your art for over 5 years. That's true. And since I've continued to collect, Marcus, I still have plenty of stuff from the last 5 years, which I have to wait 5 years plus for, right? If I really want to do that. So I love Landon, Little House on Highway to Heaven. Yeah, exactly, Tom. Yeah. You knew you were a softie. We all know Tom's a softie. He can be a little rough around the edges at times, but we know he's a softie. They'll take a few years to solve your collection too. No, they won't. They'll do it over a year maybe or so. Trust me, we're taxed so heavily. It would be still really bad enough. It doesn't take much to tax us here in Canada. Who's better, Tom Grummer? It's not about better. They're completely different approaches to art. One is an old school style illustrative type illustrator. The other one is a very sort of standard comic booky type style illustrator. So just completely different approaches, They're both great at what they do, though, right? I have so much small stuff. Would be crazy to sell. Yeah, the wannabe Ingalls, ISGC. Yeah, downsize, but I don't liquidate unless I have health myself. Yeah, see, that's the thing, though, Sean. Is you don't know these things happen when you at least expect them. That's the problem, I don't want to, if in all things being perfect, I don't want to find out, I've got cancer or I've got this, that, or the other. And then I have to, I'm going to have so much to think about already with my health. I'm not going to want to have to think, oh shit, I got to start getting rid of my collection. That's the thing, again, to each their own, right? Everybody is going to do what they want to do, how they want to do it. I'm just telling you how I've always thought of wanting to do it. So thanks for all the info. Collect mainly Marvel, DC, and British 2000 AD. Okay, wide variety of artists. Thanks for letting us know. That's cool. So it's a broad interest, the main two plus the British stuff, 2000 AD. Yeah, I don't know if you know, but you might know. It hasn't been published yet, but Mike Perkins he's been drawing. I think it's going to be a 6 episode or so. So six issues of 2000 AD. I guess what is it? 8 pages, 6 pages per episode of a Judge Dredd story. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. I mentioned that because I represent Mike Perkins and I handle his art sales. That's why I'm not trying to sell you the art, but as a comic fan, in case you're aware, and since you're a 2000 AD fan, I thought you might, in case you're familiar with Mike's work, just thought I'd pass that on. Okay, I'm gonna bring in Matt before we get off the topic because it's an important topic, you know, this whole selling art thing. But give me a sec, Matt. Let me just at least catch up on the questions. Sell it all to one big Grummet. You know, that's the only thing, Stanley. I would actually love to do that, but even one big Grummet fan is, you know, I don't know any that has that kind of money. And second of all, even a big fan who's purely a collector would still expect to buy it for a massive discount. So at that point, I might as well just sell it to a dealer. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, in a perfect world, if there was a huge fan with unlimited money who said, hey, I love his art and I want to own an instant Tom Grummet collection or Mike Perkins collection. And you want, you know, and they want to pay, you know, a slight discount to fair market value. Yeah, everybody would dream of being able to do that, you know. But yeah, that's not going to happen. And so, Rubén, comic pathologist, do you have any pages from the Bonsai Battalion? I don't know who you're speaking to. From Lone Ranger. Okay, evening. Never seen any either. Yo, TJ. Thank you. I have 2 Dread pages. Nice. But Dan DeCarlo, Dan Parent. Oh, in the Archie world, I guess. Schultz, another Archie. Cool. An Archie collector. We talked about Archie last week in last week's episode, which was the whole theme was it was an episode of the Comic Art 101 series, and trying to teach people alternate ways to collect art cheaply, you know, affordably, for those who can no longer feel like they can no longer afford original art. You know, you don't understand why it took so long to sell the Titans art. But I was offering you full ride, so it's not like you were gonna crush, you know, the market. Dressing room writer fulfilled properly backstage. All right, let me bring in our good friend Matty is here. What's up, Matty?
Hey,
good to see you, man.
good to see you too. Heavy shit, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, some things and I will take this opportunity to speak to those of you who have cancer running in your family and things that you should take care of before it gets crazy. I have noticed that I have other side. On this side, a little contusion, which my dad had skin cancer. It was an early indicator of the colon cancer that killed him.
Oh.
And so I have an appointment this week to get that looked at and see what that's going to be all about. Whether it's good news or bad news, probably not going to share it with everybody. Just assume all as well. But I encourage you guys to check in on that stuff. A second thing, because you talked about it, and since you're a person with a huge collection of stuff, that I think it behooves you, because to the point is, God forbid something terrible were to happen to you, Vivian would be left in a position of having all this stuff and having somewhat of an idea of what to do with it, but not a great idea of what to do with it. Also being stricken with grief and, you know, not necessarily knowing how to handle it. It's good if you and collectors who have as much the quantity of pages that you have, to break things up into collections specifically for sending into Heritage one package at a time. Because to your point, if you send in all that Grommet, if you send in all that Perkins, it's going to devalue all of it. So you have little packages with little notes saying, hey, I've provided, you know, wish I was here to do this, miss you greatly. Here's how I recommend handling this. Send in this package first, then this package and this package. Space them out 6 months at a time. Do not submit the second package until after the first sale has gone through, has been completed, because otherwise, if you send multiple packages, Heritage may wait and package them together anyways, because that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And what they want to do is never going to be good for you. It's going to be good for them.
Yeah.
So that's a good way, I think, for collectors who have a lot of stuff and dependents who may not be as savvy about these things as you are, and how could they be, that you prepare these things easily for them. Now that may make it a little bit harder for you, as you sell things, because I hope you live forever, right? But you need to make these preparations before you're dead, because when you're dead, you can't prep it. So put together packages of certain amounts of pages that are in individual packages, numbered somehow on the front. Leave a collection of these in your papers with your will, with all the paperwork that your dependents are going to need when you die, so that you can absolutely give them these things so that they know. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's, I having said that though, Matt, I listen, we all, like I say, we all got to do what we got to do. I'm aware of all the different options, that I have, different ways that I can do it. It's just, I've always wanted to be in control of how it happens. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm okay with the idea of being the one who decides, okay, I'm going to stop, and I want to be in control, and I want to be the one to sell it. And because look, part of it is not just, okay, I want to be the one to get rid of it. But when I, like, the dealer side of me, part of being a dealer for decades was, like, and that I love about it, was the people that you meet and other collectors, when the happiness they show you when they get something from you and they receive it and they tell you, hey, I got it. It looks so good. I'm so happy. Like, and especially, believe it or not, especially when it's just like a $250 page or some random little cheapie, whatever, and they're so happy about it. I just love that. That, to me, that's the true sense of collecting, the happiness and joy that people get without it needing to be some super high, expensive, super duper, in demand thing. So yeah, I just love knowing and hearing from other collectors, knowing that, hey, my stuff went to your collection and they let me know that they're happy with it. I just love that. It's part of the thrill of selling, for me. I don't know about other people, but for me. So
no, I mean, I also love to, put the right piece into the hands of the right collector, but I can't do that when I'm dead. So I will endeavor to do that while I'm alive. And there are things that will prevent that from happening. And it can be, waiting for that person to making a deal with somebody and then waiting for them to have enough money, so, it is a pain in the ass of separating stuff out when you're selling from it, but you can always amend the instructions that go into that packet for your family. You can do that weekly. And so, if you've got it updated to the last week, I mean, even if you sell a lot of stuff, that should be good enough. Like, if you go a year and you've sold a ton of stuff and there's only 3 pieces in that first packet and 7 pieces in that second packet and 3 in the third and 100 in the fourth, seems unrealistic, then that's going to be something that you're going to want to stay on top of. And, the fear I think we all have is that we die and this stuff is given the treatment of baseball cards when you went to college, that your mom just like cleaned up your room and threw shit away, and it happened to a lot of people. It didn't happen necessarily to me. Maybe it didn't happen to you, but like a lot of people lost stuff when they moved out of home for the first time and their parents just got rid of stuff and you thought it was safe, or you thought it was safe in the attic even. And then there was a leak in the attic, like you have a lot of control over how your estate can be planned by making constant updates to it and by being in communication with your spouse or with your next dependent. Now, that's tougher for someone like me, like where I currently live alone. And so like I have a lot of instructions for my ex-wife, and for my sisters and like people that I want to get a piece of my estate when I pass, so that they know, what stuff is worth. I try and keep up an index of the value of things that will be available in important papers that are marked in my Google Drive for them to access should I die, and that those instructions will be available to them because they are already available to them. So, you know, the other things you can do is you can set up a living will, you know, where whatever you want to happen when you die changes day to day as you accumulate more things, because anything that isn't named could disappear. I mean, here's a terrible thing. So for any of you who were like,
can I? I'm sorry, Matt.
Sure.
I don't mean to apologize.
I have to ask Mackie about something. Yep.
I just wanted to mention, Maki, I just found out we released some, I let everybody know of some sad news. And then while I let everybody know of the sad news that I had, it was a couple of people who passed away. Our friends here let me know about you. I was not aware that your dad had passed. So I just wanted to, I really didn't expect you to be here tonight because of that. So I just want to extend my condolences to you, my friend, and tell you how sorry I am to hear that.
Mine as well, obviously, yes, and the chats clearly.
Yeah, and great to see you. Honestly, surprised that you popped in at such a difficult time, but I appreciate it. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Matt. Continue, please.
Yeah, so you know, I think there are a lot of collectors who are not necessarily in constant contact with somebody else who has a great understanding of their collector habits, of the value of what they have, sometimes by design, sometimes not by design. But, you know, like, you have to, I think you owe it to yourself and the legacy of what you have to keep a fairly up-to-date index. You know, this goes back to things that Jeff has talked about. Even Tatiana has talked about this, you know, in Mikhail has addressed, in keeping good records. And then honestly, while this is gonna, you know, you can print it out, and I know that there are people that are like, oh, why do you need to print stuff out? Well, if there isn't something physical for someone to find with your papers that have instructions about what your end of life requests, then they're not necessarily going to find it on your computer. They're not necessarily going to find it among other papers. Try and keep stuff up to date. I mean, this establishes two things as well, which are good things, which is that you are constantly aware of the value of your collection, and it gives you a chance to go back and reassess and re-enjoy the things that you have, even if they are on a list, even if you're not physically looking at them, even if you're talking about an index of the things that you own. It gives you that same buzz, that same amazing feeling in knowing that you own them by seeing them all listed side by side and having a little bit of clerical, you know, adjustment to it. And it's kind of a fun, if monotonous, part of the hobby. And I would encourage everybody to not spare themselves that enjoyment of doing those updates. It's like reorganizing your collection, but it's reorganizing your collection for a worst case scenario. So, you know, I think this is a great opportunity to talk about that. So that's why I brought it up.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And, you know, we've talked about this on various other shows in the past on this channel, you know, because it's such a worthwhile topic to talk about, and kind of if nothing else, as a reminder to people, you know, to keep thinking about these things, especially after we hear news of somebody else we know that has suddenly passed away, or whether it's sudden or not, but you know what I mean, right?
Yep.
And we're all getting older, and you know how it is. It's like the older you get, the more people around you start dropping, right? And it sort of makes it brings reality to the forefront, you know, of our own mortality. So it's just all the more reason to think about these types of things in terms of what to do with your collection. Should you plan, you know, plan, guys, make plans for the collection, you know, whether it's you want to have it disposed of only after you're gone or before. Either way, but plan. You start thinking of it. If you keep blowing it off just because you don't want to deal with your own mortality.
You raised a really, really amazing point, that you may be disabled before you die.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
And so having that information for your family to be able to pay for your care may be a very, very important aspect of cataloging your collection. You know, so again, that's another really, really good way of keeping that up. I mean, the other thing too is that, you know, if you're in a situation where, you know, if you live alone, if you don't have a lot of people around you and you die, then the first people that are going to find your stuff are going to be the cops when the neighbors start to smell something next door.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe that's 2 weeks, maybe that's 5 months later. You know, maybe it's because you stop paying rent and all of a sudden the landlord sends in the cops. Stuff can go missing.
Huh?
Stuff can go missing.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Sure. For sure.
No witnesses, empty house, valuable shit. You know, not cataloging that, not letting somebody else who's not necessarily, you know, in your immediate vicinity know what you've still got. May be an important way of making sure that that stuff doesn't go stolen.
Yes, I think that that denial is more powerful a problem than we think. It's certainly not more powerful than I think. I know it's denial about one's own mortality. I'm well aware of it because I've dealt with a lot of death and throughout my life, and talking to so many people about it, and, you know, finding out that a lot of the people I've spoken to about it have never experienced any death at all. You quickly realize just how in denial a lot of people are. And, you know, just maybe perhaps either denial or a desire. They're aware of it, but it's just this desire to not want to even deal with it. I don't even want to think about it or talk about it because that's too, it's a crappy subject. So I don't want to think about that, you know? Yeah. So no,
I am ever reminded in that I collect death. The character that I collect is death. Yeah. She is an embodiment of death. It is constantly within my zeitgeist. It is something I think of a lot.
Hey, Mark.
You know, and you know, to which I will say, and I'm, you know, at this point in my life, not suicidal. I think that thinking about and knowing about mortality makes life more valuable, and so I want to live forever. You know, but I'm probably not going to, you know, and so if I do die suddenly, it wasn't me. Let me tell you that. There'll be no note left behind, none of that shit. But so yeah, I think that there is a little bit of denial, I think, in that people don't like to put time towards thinking about, you know, the fact that they may die, and that can cause anxiety. It certainly does, and it's a bummer. Yeah. You know, what we're talking about is not light stuff. It's not ebullient, but you know, it's a sobering, you know, reality.
It's a reality,
and you know, something that we need to talk about and address and think about and plan for. And you know, the best defense for anything, whether it's the common cold, cancer, or war, is preparation. So you know, if you're well prepared, then that leaves the people that you leave behind in a much better position to do well. And certainly, you know, as we talked about, you know, as we just mentioned, you might get left if you're in a coma, or if you're in a some kind of incapacitated way, then you're going to need somebody who can handle selling your stuff, you know, and raising money for you. Because if you get no money coming in, even if you're retired and you're fairly wealthy, you'd be surprised how fast money goes when you get sick. The number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States is medical bills.
Oh yeah, yeah. Most of you guys are from the United States. I would think a lot of you know that. I would assume or hope that you knew that. Yeah.
Second is student debt, student loans, the cost of your education.
Is that second?
Yep.
Really? Wow.
You can't file bankruptcy for that amount. You owe it forever.
Right.
But that debt can drive you into bankruptcy.
Right.
And you still have to pay it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nutty. Hey, John, what's good, buddy? David, there's our Australian friend. Look at that. We got somebody in England, somebody in Australia tonight. That's awesome. Somebody in Oklahoma, apparently. 49th or 50th in education, I just recently heard. Is that true, James? Dwayne's a pain. You can let me know. I don't know. One of you let me know. Good evening, everyone. Just jumped on looking for some lighthearted, uplifting topics. What are we discussing? Wow, you came in at the wrong time. Good to see you, though. Yes, please, everybody, if you're here and you're reading this, please just hit that just encourage me, please. It's don't subscribe if you're not subscribed, but just hit that thumbs up, please.
And really quick, James Siegel, I think you're in town this week, right?
Ooh.
I think we're supposed to be having dinner or drinks or whatever with the gang.
Yeah, get in touch if you are. Peter says, I've been working on my inventory records. Good advice to leave updated paper copy with instructions just in case. There you go, Peter. Yep, yeah, absolutely. And oh darn. Yes, you're kidding. That's good. It's okay. We can be a little lighthearted, you know. We can't be morose for the entire length of the show. I mean, we could, but we're not going to be. But just this particular topic, it's important. So let's cover it at least, right? Canada does it right. Oh, it's everybody's got their pluses and minuses. Connected to this, I bookmarked a couple of comments, so I want to get them because a couple of great points were made by Mike Dellery, NSN Art, and Sean Clancy. So we'll take the first one, take them in order. Mike said, I saw a piece I sold in the last 6 months on a recent Dueling Dealers. I guess that collector didn't really love it. That's true. So Mike, what I want to say to that is, that's not going to change my way of thinking. Like, because me just sending my, leaving instructions for my loved ones to just send my collection to the auction house, that's not going to help things. Like, that's not going to help putting the art into the right collections. What you have to know and realize and accept, that's the main key word here, accept, is there will always be people who are bottom dwellers, like the people in every hobby who come in and just want to take advantage of others. They'll say the stupidest things, give you the stupidest sob stories just to get your art. All right. Like, we all know that. And we also should know, I know. So hopefully if anybody out there listening doesn't know, you'll know now. Take my advice here. Understand that there will always be those people, always. You'll never be rid of those. It's just human nature, right? In every society, there are going to be all kinds of people. So in every sector of society, there will be those kinds of people. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can really do to sort of, flag those people and try to, figure out who they are. It doesn't matter. Just accept that thankfully, a very tiny percentage of all the people that you will ever sell stuff to are going to be flippers that only bought it so they can try to make money a few months later. Okay, the majority are not like that.
Or they caught a squirrel, or they really wanted it and then found their dream piece.
Right.
And needed to sell that piece they just bought in order to fund that dream piece. I mean, that does happen. Right. Now, if you gave that person a break because they gave you a sob story, which is sort of, I think, the point you're getting to, and then I can see how that would hurt. But I didn't see that in this. All I see that Mike wrote is that
we don't know
the piece and it wound up on Dueling Dealers. So at some point between him selling it to this person sold it to either Mike or Anthony. And probably
or traded it to them, you know what I mean? Like, it's and that's the thing, Mike, and everybody else listening. I think for me, the key point that I want to make with this, and I've said this for decades because it's true. Accept. Number one, the first step is to accept that things like that will happen. Okay, just accept it. It's going to happen from time to time. Okay, so accept that it will, even before you start selling art. It's going to happen. So that way, if you accept that's the reality of this hobby, or any hobby, the reality of life, if you accept it in advance, when you see it finally happen to you, it won't bother you as much. But here's the second point, and the most important point I want to make. And I've said this endlessly over the years. This is why these situations that you're pointing out, Mike, this is why I always say, when you're selling, just be sure that you sell for the price that you're satisfied with.
Which he did, and you can see as you scroll down that that's what happened.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate
But,
that.
but this brings up a couple other things, and I'm seeing some really interesting comments about this. And Kavi, I think, what's the word? I can't think of the expression, but what I would say is that, and this is a serious thing too, but I want to get to what we're kind of talking about before we dive into this. And Maki, again, you have our deepest sympathies. And yeah, we did see that, Nick had talked about an important, anniversary. But Kavi raised the point. It's like scammers who own a museum. I'm sure all of us have gotten messages about certain pieces on our calf galleries by a couple of very deep-pocketed individuals who collect quote-unquote key pages, and they fucking lowball. That they're not even willing to pay asking price. Like, it's not even that they really want it because they're big fans. They are famously flippers. They are famously people who are just buying stuff in order to sell it as soon as it becomes. Mike, I'll let you know for sure. I think you're in that chat group, but if not, I'll add you in. But that's the stuff that pisses me off. If I get somebody with really deep pockets reaching out to me, like, I'm not saying, hey, do you want this? If they contact me and are like, hey, I see you have this thing and it's marked $1,000, can I give you $600 for it? I have a 2-word answer. It's one of the words can be said on television. The first word can't. The second one is it's the word you. And I'll basically be like, who do you think you are? Like, absolutely not. It's incredibly disrespectful. I saw 2 of them on a podcast, not your podcast, someone else's podcast, where they were talking about, how they focus on picking up these things. And to me, it's a little bit sickening. And that's the type of thing that I think gives the hobby a bad name, because these are 2 of the bigger buyers who are given the biggest audiences because they've got deep pockets and they buy expensive stuff, sometimes at stupidly high prices. But that's auction, where they know it makes an impact. Where if you know that, the first appearance of a major character on a cover of an X-Men comic, and they overpay, and I mean overpay is even a loaded term, honestly. But if they pay a record price for it, then they're going to hang on to it until it becomes worth their while to resell at a higher thing. I've always said, when it comes to covering the weekly calf stuff, that I'm not impressed by millionaires buying $100,000 pieces. That's not impressive to me. I don't care to see it. I understand it happens. I don't feel like giving that more attention is a good thing. I also noted that on the calf mail this week, there were a couple of things that were listed as collectors talking about that had no likes and no comments. And so who the fuck is talking about them? How does this, what's the criteria for that? And that to me is a little maddening. If you've put up a piece that is getting a lot of attention, that people seem to really like, that reflects very strongly upon a calf advertiser, that you'd expect that would get a light shined upon it. And then you see like a piece that has no likes, no comments, and nobody even knows about is listed under the category of quote unquote people or collectors are talking about. And then what happens is, of course, is that the only people talking about it are me and Daryl and Jeff when I send a message and being like, can you believe this shit? Yeah. And Daryl says, well, now you're talking about it. You've proved the point. And I'm like, God damn it, you're right. But there is an element of like, how do you know if a piece is winding up in the right hands? Look in their calf gallery, see what else they have. There's groups on Facebook. There's even secret groups on Facebook about, douchey sellers and douchey buyers and scammers and all that stuff that you can kind of check into. One of them has been around for years, and I just found it basically last night. Yeah. And joined that group on Facebook to be able to kind of support some claims because I dealt with some fishy artists. But what kind of kicked this up for me is that Jason Sean Alexander made a post on his threads about the fact that this is Jason Sean Alexander. He's a very well-regarded comic artist. And he made a post about how he's chasing down people who owe him money. That publishers owe him money, and reps owe him money, and then there were a couple of collectors that owed him money. And he's like, I put all this time in and I create a piece, and then when it comes time to collect, all of a sudden they ghost. And I'm like, well, that's a two-way street. There are a lot of people who have things to say about artists that like Jay Lee, or like Larry Stroman, or like Paris Cullins, who have really burned collectors, who have taken on a lot of commissions and never supplied them, and then they constantly solicit more commissions and don't provide. And then you see their art for sale on the EXP, and you're like, where's all this Jay Lee art coming from? Like, clearly there's a lot of it, but he's not fulfilling his commissions. So like, I think that it's a big problem in this hobby, that collectors have two things. There are artists who are bad about giving a deadline and sticking to it, and that's bullshit. There's also collectors that pester people every step of the way, even though dates have been given. And so we have to look at both sides of this and say, okay, what's an appropriate middle ground. But I've found this year so far, so we're in August. This year I've had 5 commissions go away.
Go away?
Yes. Where I had paid and it didn't happen, and it didn't happen in the time frame, and it started to get close to the point. Some of these commissions started last year, right, and it got to the point where it'd be hard for me to file a claim. And so I immediately said, if they weren't communicating with me after 4 months, right, I'm filing it. It's done. I don't care. Right. If they said, hey, you have to pay now to get on my list, and my list takes 2 years, not something I would do. But if I had done it, I'm not going to bug them for 2 years.
That's different, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different.
But a lot of the time you talk to an artist, they ask you a lot of questions. You have a back and forth. They seem really excited about it. You give them certain comps to work with. You give them instruction. You give them a payment. Maybe they even give you like a really, really loose, like stickman layout. And you're like, oh wow, this is great. And then you pay them, and then you don't hear from them again for 4 months. And they maybe have promised, hey, this is great. Okay, I'm gonna move forward with this. I can do this in 2 months. You'll have it in 2 months. So 2 months goes by. I don't contact them on the 2 month date. I wait an extra week, and I'll be like, hey, just checking in, what's going on? And then if I don't hear from them, I'll send them another message in 2 weeks. If I don't hear from them again in another 2 weeks, I'm immediately gonna file a claim. Or I will tell them I'm gonna file a claim, and they have a deadline of responding to me by 10 a.m. the next day. And I'll tell you, once I had to file one, and the guy didn't fight it, and that was great. Not a very well-known artist, but someone who had recently signed with a company that I think most of us have purchased commissions from in the chat. Another artist was an artist who, actually 2 artists were artists that were openly soliciting for commissions because they had a problem of some sort, and I wanted to support. And so made a purchase of existing art, and then asked them, would a commission help? Is this going to be something that can help you with that? Because if you're not necessarily known for doing a lot of commissions, if you do it, I'll post it in my gallery. That I'll tell people who to contact, and they can solicit more business. And they couldn't follow through with it. One artist had a piece that they lost, and I was like, okay, no big problem. I was like, you know what? Do you have anything else that I might like? They presented a piece that I liked way better than the piece that I had purchased. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. 4 months go by. It doesn't get mailed. I'm asking them, and they're giving me little crumbs along the way of like, oh yeah, I'll send this out on Monday. So Monday happens, then a week from Monday happens, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it 10 days because that's the outside expectation of a priority package. Hey, do you have that tracking number for me? Nothing. Wait 2 weeks. Hey, just checking back in. I understand if you didn't necessarily get a chance to mail it, but if you can, that being the case, when we go out, they give you another phony date. It passes. 10 days later, nothing. At that point, you're like, okay, maybe they're going to mail it. Maybe they're not going to mail it, but I'm getting dangerously close to that point where I can't get my money back. So, and at that point, I don't even like the piece anymore.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. Once the experience has gone south, it ruins the way you look at the artwork. It's like, I don't want this anymore.
And to this other artist's credit, they identified that. They finally got in touch and they're like, I totally dropped the ball. I wanted to do this before I went out of town for this thing. And I'm like, yeah, this thing was 3 weeks ago, person. Like that excuse is 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
Why don't I have it yet? And I'm like, and they're like, if this experience, and this is to their credit, they said, if this experience has made you not like the piece anymore and you don't want it, I will totally refund it. But I will absolutely get this to the post office tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I want my money back. Like this is, at this point, it had been almost 6 months.
There you go. And that perfect segue, because I guess what to Jason's question, you were referring to the whole PayPal, so you can get your money back?
There's more than just PayPal. Some people have like their Shopify sites. And so the Shopify sites are set up through specific payments. You can scroll to the bottom of that and it will tell you exactly who's monitoring their payments. Now, Shopify themselves have rules that if you get a bad reputation, they'll shut down your site.
Right.
So the threat of that person knowing that if you raise a fuss is going to cause them problems collecting all future monies, they will probably do whatever they can do to keep that from happening. Now, sometimes keeping that from happening is stringing you along. Now, I'm like, I ain't about that. So I got refunded.
But basically, though, you are just to answer Jason's question, you are generally referring to once it gets to that cutoff point where your protection, right, to not get ripped off is about to run out. You're talking about whatever payment method you use. You make your claim or whatever.
And this should be really easy. If you haven't done business with an artist before, do not send a friends and family payment. If you have, and some dealers are going to be like, hey, if you're willing to send friends and family, I will discount it. It will be this price. If not, it's this price.
Right.
Pay that other price. Pay the higher price until you get a system of working with them. And now I'll also say this. So like, this is another thing that was raised by this conversation on Sean's threads was, and as I joined this group and people were talking, someone had done a commission for Mannix and it went longer than he expected it to go. Now, I don't know what that communication was like, but I bought many a commission from Jiggy.
From who?
And from Jiggy at Next Comic Art.
Oh, Jiggy.
Now, I've never bought a Mannix piece, but I bought from several of his artists. And
thanks, Carl.
And to that end, I will say this. He's not always the best at constant communication. And sometimes the messages are like, hey, Matt, and then you get nothing for like a week. And I'm like, that's not a communication to me. That's a gap. But I also know that he's on a convention schedule. His artists have many commissions booked. Now, I don't know where I am in that list. I always establish before I make payment, what's the deadline on delivery? Because I don't want to bug you randomly. If you tell me it's going to take 3 months to 4 months, I'm like, what is it? Is it 3 months or is it 4 months? 4 months is fine. I can wait 4 months. Is it 5 months? What's it going to be?
Right.
And establish that. Then when you circle back, you're not being a needy prick. You're circling back as somebody who there was an established date, someone didn't deliver, and now you have a reason to check back in. I have found Jiggy to be pretty communicative, but I would still say that is baseline. I don't think his service is great. I think it's here.
Look at Ilya, by the way, Matt. I'm going through one of those. Oh yeah, I'll shipping it on Monday, and now another Monday has come and gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what's the famous expression? It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
So like, don't keep giving them an opportunity to be shady. Yeah. Now, I've gone through, and I've seen other situations too, where someone keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, and then that artist delivers a really shitty piece, a really crappy piece, because they're no longer engaged in it, and they're just going to give you the bare minimum. Before it even gets to that, just cancel it. Just get your money back. file with whoever you need to file with. You know, like I had another artist who I went through a long series of like supplying. He asked for references. It was a very specific piece, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to give names, because I got resolution on all of these. One name I will say, Mark Pica is the artist who ghosted me for 4 months after he got his money after being very engaged. I had heard that he was going to be signing with Next Art, and so I contacted Jiggy about it, and Jiggy never said that this guy had signed with him. And now I'm also like being unreasonable, and I don't want to ask this rep to deal with this situation that isn't his problem. So when I realized that I wasn't getting any confirmation that he was now part of the Next Comics art roster and this dude had completely ghosted me, I immediately just filed with PayPal. I'm like, I've given him many opportunities to do right and just communicate with me. He ghosted for 4 months. And so at that point, I just contacted PayPal and canceled the payment. I'm like, I have not received the piece. I've not received communication. Here are the last messages we have. I'm like, he also changed his name on one of the services I've been communicating him with, which is a bad faith thing, I think. And he didn't fight it. He just let me get the money back. But I can't, in good conscience, allow him to do that to other people. So I'll name him. The other artists I'm not going to name because they ended up doing the right thing. And I do believe that the artist who was like, I'm really sorry, I screwed up, I had this thing going on. This is also a person who was having health issues, and I knew that going into it. So, but all the dates that came and went were not my dates. I'm not like, can you have it by this date? These were dates that they provided, and they kept going by, and then I was getting nothing. And I'm like, hey, do you have tracking? You said this is going to go out on Monday 2 weeks ago. Now it's a month. Now it's a month and a half. Now it's 2 months. Now I'm like, I'm gonna issue a complaint against your site if I don't hear from you tomorrow. And then I got a communication, and I'm like, you know, I had to push them to do that. That's shitty. I'm not gonna call them out, but I'm also never gonna recommend them. I had a local artist here in Las Vegas who was at you know, the Las Vegas Comic Con, you know, the amazing show, and I hit him with a deposit there through Venmo, and then I finished up payment through PayPal. Had this great communication, knew that they were doing something. I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. I don't need it in a week. But if you haven't week, great. But I'll follow up with you in a month. So I followed up in a month. They were going to a different convention. I'm like, okay, I'll follow up with you after the convention. That person even sent prelims in the middle of this process.
Yeah, I've heard of all kinds, so many stories, every conceivable story you can imagine, just like that, where it's like they go to all these lengths to make you think like it's like you have no reason to believe anything other than something good is going to come of this.
But what I'll say to this person's credit is that when I followed up, because I'll be able to work on it this week, and I'll hit you with the preliminary illustration. And then you can finalize it, and I'll ink it next week. So 2 weeks go by, and I'm like, what happened? He's like, you know what? I'm just going to refund. I feel really terrible. I booked a gig. And I'm like, I get it. I wasn't so in love with the prelims that I saw that I absolutely had to have this piece at any cost. It was only a few $100s. So I'm like, let's walk away with this, both of us feeling okay about it. It's just weird that there were 4 to 5 of these things in a single year when I've never experienced that in the past. It all happened now. And I don't know if there's something in the zeitgeist where people are just so completely downtrodden by what's happening around them that it's killing their ability to be creative. It's killing their ability to follow through. If the economy is really so bad for a lot of people that they can't even follow through with basic promises. Now, I also have another artist who was a person who was, you know, experiencing some hardship, and I bought pieces from them and did a commission, and this was last year. So this is now like, it's encroaching upon a year when this was supposed to be turned, and they promised they were going to turn around in a month. And then I got excuse and excuse. Now, the excuses that I got were like, they can't work on this piece.
Really?
And I really only did this to help them. So I'll let this run its course because I really just wanted to help them. And I want to get what they promised. But if I lose it, it's okay because it's really kind of a donation. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think I'm going to get that. I haven't received them yet, but I've gotten back in communication with them. If they complete the pieces and I post them and I'm like, hey, you know, these took a long time, but these were super cheap. This is what I paid for these. If you like this, I recommend hitting them up. Don't pay it all in full, you know, like, yeah. But this person is definitely experiencing a hardship situation, which I can understand it being very hard to create under. I knew that going in. So again, not somebody I'm going to out because I don't think that they're not a bad person. They're a person who has hit a bad circumstance, and that amount of money isn't fucking me up so hard that it means that I have to like ruin them in the public eye. Right.
Exactly.
And this was also the case with with one of the other artists who ended up being like, well, okay, do you want your money back or do you want me to mail this? And I'm like, just give me the money back. And it was really no hard feelings. I'm like, I had wanted to do a good thing because I knew they were experiencing a problem, stepped in, didn't work out. Other people that I had recommended their art to got exactly what they wanted within a week. Like, so I was the outlier.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that I'm the person that turned these other people onto it and they got what they wanted and I didn't. But at the end of the day, I can't complain too much about it. But the fact that it's so easy for people to just ghost. Like if you're talking to an artist online, you don't know where they live. Even if you think you know where they live, you don't know where they live. You may think you know their email. You don't. So
it doesn't matter. Even if you know their email, so what? What does it take for them to just stop responding to the email? Like, you know, like it doesn't really do anything, right? Like, you think about it, it's not really that protected, right?
I mean, in a way, like, you know, I think if people are getting checks mailed to them, at least you know where the checks are going to.
Yeah.
I mean, other times when the names are big enough, people know how to get a hold of them. And, and if you need to, you can file a lawsuit and you can win. And if they don't show up in court, you de facto win. And then that can mean that their wages get attached. So like, you know, the question that I saw, you know, it's like, well, who do I file a claim with? It depends. PayPal, your claim's with PayPal. If you paid with Venmo, your claim's with Venmo. If your claim is with a Shopify site, your claim is with the system that powers the Shopify site.
Yeah. That could Whoever protects your payment, basically, that you made. Basically, that's it.
If it's your credit card, is it your bank? Is it your credit card? Like, there's a lot of ways in filing. If you've got the receipts, then it's super easy to win, you know, and it's a bitch and you shouldn't have to do it. And then that's additional. Like that's an additional cost. Your time is worth something, and you're probably not going to recover that.
Yeah.
But like, I was reading on that group on Facebook. You know, Daryl was talking about, oh God, who was the artist who did the Lone Wolf and Cub piece? And 8 years after not delivering the piece, the guy posted it as an example of his commissions and isn't shipping it. And it's like,
wait. You mean the artist guy?
Yeah.
Not the collector.
No, the artist is like posting the commission that he has not delivered.
Right.
As an example? 8 years as an example of commissions that you can pay for.
Oh my God. Okay. That takes balls right there. Wow. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and this is an established Marvel Comics artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. Oh, Larry Stroman.
This isn't Larry, although he's definitely, I mean, there's a lot of complaints. Like I said, the three that everybody complains about, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Jay Lee, Larry Stroman, Paris Cullins.
Paris Cullins too? Wow.
Yep. Oh, David Lapham. I think it's David Lapham.
Him too?
Oh my God. So many complaints against David Lapham. 10 years, 12 years, no piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you know, I feel free saying this because I know collectors who have the receipts. They've posted the receipts. Yeah. This is not defamation. This motherfucker is taking money and not.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I always say, man, especially if you want to talk about any of you guys listening now, you want to talk about it on my channel. Again, don't ever use my platform just to try to come here to blast somebody, and especially if you do it by surprising me, not letting me know. I'm not here for that. I'm not about that, right? But if you want to be honest and come and just talk about your experiences, and if you've got receipts, that's totally different, right? If you're legitimately are getting screwed by people, you should talk about it. And if you want to name the name, that's cool too. But like Matt was saying earlier, you can't just willy-nilly blast anybody who is late with a commission. Let these things play out. You, depending on the situation, right? Every situation's different. They can resolve themselves. So, you know, don't just think it's time to blast for the sake of blasting, you know?
Right. And you know, another thing that I sort of started to talk about is that the baseline for communication in this hobby is low. Customer service in this hobby is generally very poor. That when you buy a piece, you work out the deal with the rep. If it's commission, it's really hairy. Like, you're not really given a date of delivery. Like, it's really hard to nail people down. You know, I've even talked about, you know, dealing with Mark Buckingham's rep and him just like not even saying that the commission was accepted and then telling me 3 days before Comic-Con, it's done.
It's ready.
You know, can you get me this $2,000 in a day? And I'm like, what? Like,
What?
We talked about doing a down payment and then a payoff. And then like, what the hell happened?
Suddenly it's ready.
But I knew that if I didn't pay, that shit would have been for sale at his table. This piece that I commissioned, that I put my heart and soul into, requesting exactly what I wanted. So I kind of had to move heaven and earth to make that happen. And it was even kind of a bitch talking him into taking a PayPal payment. I'm like, dude, I will pay. If you can't accept it as a friends and family, I will even pay above and beyond it just to make sure this happens. And then it was a 3-person handoff, you know, with like Mikhail involved and Jeff involved. And like, they saw it before I saw it. I hadn't even seen the piece at this point. You know, he's asking for money. I don't even know what it looks like. Is it a good piece? I mean, I got super lucky. It's one of my favorite pieces ever. But like, that's terrible customer service. And you know, with Jiggy and Next Comics, I think he does a good baseline. Like, you get a certain amount of communication. It's not always constant. Sometimes the deadlines pass. Sometimes you ask and you don't hear. But I don't worry because I know I'm going to get it. But I'm also not somebody who's like super tense about working with a dealer. Like, if I've already paid, then the problem is just delivery. So like, you know, and with a dealer, if you scream to this, you can cause them problems with the Better Business Bureau. You can cause them problems. If a dealer fucks you over and you cause them a problem with PayPal, they can't get paid by anybody.
Right.
They know they got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So I don't worry so much about that. And certainly there have been terrible dealers that burned buyers and sellers. And even the famous example, someone's talking about Inky Knuckles. I don't think I've had done a lot of business with them. I've certainly done some. That might even have been the guy that was Bucky's rep. But there's the other company that burned everybody, went out of business. I never had problems with them. Other people did.
Yeah, for sure. But let me get to some comments because there's a whole bunch while I've been letting you speak about this. Jason, I just want to tell you, look, I don't want to be that guy to kind of put something on Nick, okay? Nick is his good friend, right? So Nick and Jay are really good friends, but the answer to the question all depends on how did your friend get the commission, arrange the commission, right?
Probably through Jay.
Right, because did it go directly through Jay? Because he does have a rep. People don't even realize he has a rep because he
doesn't give that guy pieces either.
Right, because he deals so much on his own, like his own side deals. People forget Albert reps the guy, right? But so that's the thing. And then he's good friends with Nick. So some people try to go through Nick.
And Nick is his cash cow. So he's not going to fuck over Nick.
Right.
You're not going to fuck. And also, I know that when Nick needed something, that Jay invested in Nick. He's told us that on this podcast. Yeah. So like they have a very deep abiding friend. He's not getting treated the way other people are getting treated. I know the person that guy's talking about. It's in that same thing. They've had some back and forth. It seems like they're both fairly unreasonable people. But I also know several other people who have been absolutely burned by Jay Lee 7-8 years later, thousands of dollars in contention, things not being delivered. What do? There's two things you can do. One of them is legal, one of them isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So that's the thing. But like the reason I want to say to Jason is, Nick comes to mind because he's a good buddy of Jay's, but he's not his rep. It's not his
And
business.
it ain't his job. It ain't his job to chase down your shit.
Right. And I also want to say, Jason, that it's also, again, it depends on what your friend did. If he went directly with Jay, then I also want to point out, don't tell him to go through Albert either, because it's not Albert's business when Jay's doing side deals on his own, right? But if he went through Albert, then that's who he should go through, But that's,
Sean is commenting that the mass hole is coming out, and it is. But but that's the thing. It's like if you let somebody steal from you, and word on the street is it's okay to steal from you, then people are going to walk all over you. If somebody owes you money and they wind up in the hospital, then other people aren't going to, owe you money. I'm not encouraging violence of any sort. But like I said, there are two ways you can solve that problem. One of them is through the courts and one of them isn't. And, truth be told, we know that some of these kind of scammy artist guys have cut out at the last minute on conventions when they heard that people they owed a lot of money or artwork to were going to be there, and they skipped out and didn't show up. And Jay Lee's one of them. So bear that in mind. I mean, it's unfortunate that this information isn't like archived in a really central area, probably for legal reasons. But we are a community that talks, and we should. Ken Kelly's another guy who has owed people artwork for 12 or 13 years. And so I'm like, guys, I got a beautiful Ken Kelly painting for sale. If you want to publish Ken Kelly, Nebula Hugo Award winning cover art, I got one for you. His commissions, you're never going to see it. You're never going to get them. There's a lot of these art. I have a really nice Larry Stroman Nightcrawler, almost a pinup, publication quality piece. It's inexpensive. It's on my site. If you're waiting on a Larry Stroman piece and you really want a Larry Stroman piece, there's an option for you. But if you hear about these guys that are difficult, that have long turnarounds, I mean, and then there's artists who are, the shame of it is that they cause a problem for guys who have 2 and 3 year waiting lists, right? That do deliver. Because now it's a thing, right? 3 years, you're never getting that money back. Never getting that money back.
Yeah.
And what if they die?
In most cases, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Now, I sold my place in line for a Robert Williams painting back in the 90s. I sold my place in line for $6,000 to somebody to take my place in that line to buy whatever painting came available at that time. And the price was what the price is going to be, but you had to get in line. So he skipped 30 positions in the line and therefore saved a fortune and what the price point was 4 years later. So that's a thing. But what if, Robert Williams had died? That piece is never going to get made. And that guy paid me $6,000 for a place in line. That's
the risk you take, though. You got to go in knowing this stuff, Yeah. Understand all the potential risks, right? There's none of this stuff comes without the potential for pitfalls, right? So
see, Lapham, there we go. I mean,
Chris Lewis,
people talking about Ken Kelly, it's these are people that are kind of notorious for this and not delivering.
Yeah. Hey, well, that's the thing, Philip, is when you talk about putting out the names of people, artists who give great commissions and have good reputations.
Most of them.
Just you don't got to come on to a show and do it, but anytime you're online and social media, if people bring that guy's name up, be sure to put in a good word for him. Sure, that's how you do it, right?
Yevgeny, who I met in the chat of this very show. I commissioned. I had my piece in 5 weeks.
Who, Yevgeny?
Yeah.
Hey, Yevgeny, he's not here tonight, but yeah, everybody's
amazing.
Happy. Everybody's happy with his service and his communication.
Fantastic. Franey took a little bit long. Justine Franey through Next Art took a bit longer. Glad she did. I wasn't in a rush. I was like, hey, what's going on with this? Is it in the queue? Let me know. Didn't get a lot of back and forth. Then got it.
Yeah.
It is art buyer beware. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Kelly Jones, a guy that is apparently quite notorious for being very, very, very late with delivering commissions.
Oh yeah, look at that. Another new guy. Is that where has he been here before? Everyday Adams Comics. I think you were here. I had to file a PayPal incident against Chiaroscuro Studios for a Lucas Wernick artist print. They double sold. They were quick to have me send payment F and F to Brazil, but then ghosted me for a month. Yeah, man. That's why it's so dangerous.
What month was it? Was it Comic-Con month?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, in a month to me isn't the end of the world. A month is, again, I sort of expect that kind of shit. But you
know what, Matt? Though, in all seriousness, I disagree. I was going to agree, but then I disagree. And this is the problem I think that we've all gotten to in this society with the advent of texting, and I believe texting is the root of all evil. It has really come to make everybody communication breakdown has happened because of texting. Nobody communicates properly anymore. Nobody can pick up the goddamn phone and just make a quick call. Let's settle what we need to settle fast. No, it's because let me just send them a text. And right, people use that to get away with not having to reply quickly, this and that, whatever the other. I gotta tell you, man, never is it real. Like if you're in business, you're doing business. Never is it normal or acceptable to be out of touch for a month. I don't care what month it is, really. Come on. We've gotten so used to these things happening that I know that that's where it comes from with you, Matt. So, compared to a lot of others, you're thinking, oh, a month is not so bad. But come on, shit. Is that where we
was a month promised? Did they promise that they were going to turn it around in a month? This is the thing. If you don't have established deadlines, delivery lines, then it's all up in the air. It's whenever. And that's the problem. Again, like Chiaroscuro Studios are a studio that go to almost every major convention. That's a lot of travel. If you're contacting them and buying a piece, and they're like on a trip where they're going to be in Lake Como, and then they're going to be in Scotland, and then they're going to be in New York, and then they're going to be in Atlanta, and then they're going to be in Los Angeles or San Diego, whatever, then you got to like figure out that they've got travel. They got to make it back to Brazil to even get the piece to give to you if they don't already have it with them. But like, there's also, it might be a fishy situation. It may be that they were repping a guy and the guy's like, you know what? I'm going to hold this back until I get more money for it. And they're like, but we've already sold it. And now they're getting into a fight on behalf of you for this douchebag artist that isn't giving you the thing that you bought because they're a rep. And the thing is, most reps don't physically have possession of the artwork, that they list it and then the artist hangs on to it until it sells. And sometimes they even have an opportunity to sell it themselves at tables. So a great situation. So Matt DiTullio in New York shares a couple of artists with a rep in Europe of a different European artist who does not live in either the United States or in France where his other dealer is. So they have to figure out like what pages are getting sent to which rep. So whoever sells it first when they advertise it to their fan base will send a message to what's his name, the Thor guy who created Gore the God Butcher. What's his name? I think he's Serbian, but whatever. So this dude,
Isad Ribic?
Yeah, Isad or Assad. So who's he sending artwork to? So they actually don't even know until it shows up whether they have it, but they have pre-sold it. Now, to their credit, so Matt DiTullio will take a deposit, and if things run more than a couple of weeks, you'll usually get a message from him, and he'll be like, you know what? I don't have it with me, but I expect to have it at this event. Is that okay? And you're either cool with it or you're not. And he'll be the first person to then get back to you and say, do you want a refund or do you want to let this ride? And he'll absolutely refund. So like, that's why I really enjoy working with reps, because you have that extra layer of protection. Like, the rep is holding the money. They're not paying the dude until they get it. So your money is at least in theory safe, unless it's a terrible dealer. And there have been a couple.
Bro, hold on there. Because you don't really know that. You think that's what's probably happening, but you don't really know.
Right.
How do we know? Come on, think about it, Matt. Like, there's got to be, and look, there's tons of reps out there, right? There's apparently like in the 3-digit range. That's what I've heard.
Most of your reputable people have an escrow account when they get the money in before it goes out. Not everybody does that, and a lot of dealers have enough money overhead that they can afford to not have to do that. Makes it messier for their bill their record keeping. But it's still usually, you're protected. There have been some cases, and there's that rep that repped so many people that wasn't sending artwork.
Cadence?
Somebody,
were you here earlier? Somebody mentioned, was it Carlos who mentioned? Somebody mentioned that apparently there's a lawsuit. Like, so there's finally news to be heard. And apparently, he made the comment that was made it sound like you can somewhere online, you can read about the lawsuit. So I don't know, it was reported. So, but Matt and, Matt DiTullio, above and beyond. Right. Really good art rep. But you have to understand,
aren't that communicative. They're very baseline. It's like, Matt, when I've got news, I'll let you know.
Remember one thing, and not to take anything away from Matt. Yeah. Okay. But just to play both sides of the fence, right? And be fair. Remember, he can't, even if he was a dick, he can't afford to be, because not only is he he's got his his rep business to worry about, but some guys don't worry and they screw you, right?
And his auctions.
In his case, he's also closely connected with the whole calf thing. Yeah. He cannot afford to fuck around because of that alone.
Which is good. Again, that's another level of protection for a buyer who's buying artwork or booking a commission. And so, like, I had seen a piece that I liked, and I reached out. I'm like, hey, I think you rep this artist. Do you have this piece? And yeah, I'll have it. I was like, this is the range I'm seeing stuff in. Is this the same? Yes. Do you want to deposit? What do you want? Worked it out. And then when it was late or missing, he's like, look, if you want to hang in there, you can hang in there. If you can't hang in there, I get it. I'll happily give you a refund. I'm like, yeah, let's just do the refund. And honestly, it was a squirrel anyways. So it kind of worked out. It worked out well for both of us. And I'm sure that when that piece comes to market, it will be more than the price that he quoted me. And that might have been a part of it, and it might have been a good way of getting around it that we're all happy with, but these things happen too. Now, I can name hundreds. I can't name hundreds. I can name a dozen, art reps that I've worked with time and time again who I think are really, really easy to work with and good people. And I can even name art reps who I think are terrible people, but that if you give them money, you'll get what you paid for.
Right.
Sure. But communication is not common in this hobby.
I know.
Communication in the art business writ large is not common. I feel bad if I take 2 days to mail something.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I'm giving you the second that I have the tracking number, I'm supplying it to you directly, not just through your PayPal program. I'll tell you, I just threw in I threw in one of my catalogs for you as well. I might have thrown in something else if it was something that I thought appealed to the piece, was related to the piece that maybe wasn't advertised. So you know what you're getting from me. You're also like, you have a photograph of the artwork that I have as it appears on the website. So like, that's what you're getting, And so like, there is a little bit of buyer beware for everybody, that if you think something looks away from the published piece versus what the artwork looks like, and sometimes there's little differences. I mean, if you've been in this hobby long enough, you know that there are things. I've seen, it's very common for people to zoom in on everybody's favorite topic to come after me about cut corners and stuff. So it's like, that's the way people do it. So that's the way people do it, and I get that. And then they'll usually have a second piece that shows where the cuts are. It's your responsibility to look for that stuff. Now, this raises another very big issue. I've seen it hinted at in the chat tonight, and this is another thing that really broke out in that, scammer list.
Before you get into it, Let me just read this out from Everyday Adams Comics. He wants you to know that I'm currently actively being ghosted by Jonathan Glapian's rep, his wife, regarding a published page that I paid for back in May. This discussion emboldened me to raise a dispute for that payment. So thank you.
Let me ask him. And so I saw James raise it because he knows he saw my comment in the on the Facebook page today. Is this about digital artists who produce physical artwork? And so what they usually do is they do a gray line and they ink the gray line, and that is their physical piece, but they've created the entire piece digitally. So it's not going to 100% match the published page, right? So how do you describe that?
Right. Oh,
so I think the best, because it's, and so someone's like, oh, well, that's a recreation. It's like, no, it isn't a recreation. We have a recreation is a word we use in the hobby already. So like what that is a hand inked gray line for a digital artist. And that's what counts in this business as an original version of that page. And hopefully it's the only one, right? Because you want a unique piece. So, you know, otherwise there's the AP. So the artist proof, the digital artist proof, where it's a one of one. It says it's a one of one. It's the only one that's ever going to exist. And that comes with a certificate, sometimes not even a signature. You know, and the original published page may not have had a signature. But hey, all of us who collect comic art, frequently we get that shit signed. So it's no longer exactly what it was published to be. We also, a lot of us collect inked blue lines from inkers, you know, and we hope that it's explained that that's what you're getting, that you're getting an inked blue line and not inked pencils by the other artist as well. So in a case where you've got artists that only produce digitally and you want something analog, you want something you can hang on to that is unique, that is the best unique representation of the original artwork, I feel like that hand inked blue line or gray line is original art, you know, but you want to articulate it that that's the only time they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all.
Otherwise, you get Bob Layton, right? You know, Bob Layton, he does like 27 recreations of whatever artwork someone wants him to do. He just promises to do it once a year, only maybe not. You know, like that is a recreation, and I don't know why people are paying $6,000 for that. Yeah. But you know, I think they have this idea that it's rare, but it's not. It's like it's almost, you know, it's analog but mass produced.
Yeah. To sum up what you were saying, that's what I always say all the time. It's about, especially when it, you know, in the modern era of, you know, different sorts of prints, different sorts of computer ways, you know, of making the artwork. Full disclosure. Bottom line is, whoever's responsible for selling the art should really fully disclose in detail, clearly, if you will, what exactly you are getting as a collector. This is what it looks like, what you will get, even though this is what it looks like in the published comic. You know,
and this has become an issue for Kirby comic art and specifically Annabelle.
Okay, hold on. Got to take another. I'm behind. I got to take another one. Mark's Issues with Archie Comics says, I had Dan Parrott do a commission for me and he sent me the wrong art. Mistake, it happens. I contacted him. He told me to keep it and redid the one I wanted at no additional cost.
Great guy.
That's perfect. Excellent. I wouldn't say that
above and beyond.
Yes, that's right. That's above and beyond. I wouldn't say that, hey, every artist should do that, but he probably felt it was cheap enough, right? Like I can make one quick enough, whatever, that, you know, don't go through all the trouble of repacking, resending, blah, blah, blah. I'll just draw another one. And, you know, I screwed up. He made up for the fact that he made a mistake and he screwed up. That's all. There you go. So shout out to Dan Parent for doing that.
Yep.
And,
uncommon.
And Dan Parent does it right, says Cobby. That's for sure. Matt, can you name the podcast you mentioned previously in a negative light?
I'll do you better. I'm not going to name the podcast. I'm going to name the two guys we're talking about.
Oh,
one was the former publisher of Valiant Comics, now Bad Idea, and the other person is his partner in buying these high-priced key art pages.
There you go. It's always the same people, I guess, in this hobby. I definitely do not, Stanley. Let me get a few more comments in, Matt, just so I can try to catch up here. I agree about the texting. Ray John, brother, honor your fucking commitments. Exactly. Thank you, CJ. Thank you. My carrier pigeons are usually back within a month. There you go. Exactly, Jason. Disagreements can't be sorted by text as nuance is lost and things. Yeah, this is all to what I was saying earlier about the loss of proper communication that has gotten so much worse in the era of texting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If I buy finished art, I expect the art to ship within 1 or 2 weeks. That's crazy, Aaliyah, because if I buy finished, you know, complete art that's already completed, honestly, like if you're selling it to me and you don't tell me that there's going to be a delay, I'm expecting you're shipping it tomorrow, the next day, perhaps, maybe, you know, that kind of thing. You know, so yeah, 1 to 2 weeks is a long time for me. Again, unless they tell you, you got to tell people. Like, again, it's about communication, proper communication. If you know you can't make it to the post office, or you don't have time to pack it and get it to the post office in 1 or 2 weeks, you better tell me immediately. Tell me immediately, even before I make the payment. You know, that's what you should do. Tell me what I'm in for before I make my payment. You know, don't wait to take my money and then start telling me, oh, by the way, I won't be able to ship this for a week or two, you know, or even worse, take my money and you don't even tell me when you're shipping it. You just go radio silent, right? And then I'm wondering, oh, did it go out yet? You know, and then I only hear from you a week or two later when I'm chasing after you to find out, hey, did you ship it? You know, again, communication. How hard is it to just send a quick email or text or whatever when you have to tell people, okay, I got to wait a week or two. I'm busy. Sorry.
Well, I have an answer for that. I mean, there are some reps that are selling 100 pages a day. And so it's not necessarily super easy for them to answer to every single email. So there's going to be a queue of like, who's important to respond to because they spent $10,000, who just bought a $200 page, and that's how they're going to prioritize it. And so like, if you do reach out after it's 10 days late and ask them, they owe you an explanation. But if you're bugging them the day before they said it was supposed to ship because you've got some peccadillo about how it needs to be delivered, then they may not necessarily have, you know, time to respond to you. So I get that. But yeah, I do wish that everybody treated every sale like it was a very important sale, but not every sale is important. Let's be real.
It's just,
I mean, I endeavor to do that, but not every sale is equal, and not a $60 sale is not as important as a $60,000 sale. And there are dealers who do both. You know, yeah. So you know, I do it. Tatiana does it. A lot of people do it.
Matt's commercial. Have you been ghosted by a comic book artist for a commission you were promised? You may be entitled to compensation. Call 1-800.
Dial 1-800, you know, calf scam. Yeah.
Very cheeky. You love them cheeks and them titties. James is the king of them titties.
Rex Espino. His name came up a couple of times in that thread too.
Oh, which for what? Because we're behind, or I'm behind on the big time behind on the comments.
Yeah, of one of the people that owed people. You know,
what's up, Lance?
Ghosting. So he was one of the names that came up more than once for multiple people.
For good or bad?
Bad.
Oh, bad. Who reps him?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, he might even be indie. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Ziggy's fine, but I mean, he's also not the most communicable dealer. I mean, like, so let's be honest. I mean, I think that Jiggy is a baseline. I think he gives you the amount of information that he's able to give, considering the volume of stuff that he's selling, and I've never been burned. So I mean, that's the minimum that we should expect. But you know, am I getting constant, you know, updates on things? No, I'm not. Nobody is. But so I mean, but it depends. You know, I don't expect those things. Some people do.
Did you see? Yeah, for sure. Did you see that, Matt? What Chris says? Cadence was even stealing per diem convention stipends from the artist.
I did hear that. Yeah.
I guess the information is starting to flow out now that there's supposedly a lawsuit ongoing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. James says that he doesn't know. He doesn't usually trust Matts in general. He doesn't trust you.
It's a good thing I'm not plural.
But he'll give the Tulio guy a shot, says, you know.
Yeah, no.
Oh, the Cadence, sorry. So I did that really quickly. The Cadence suit is on Bleeding Cool, 17 artists suing, banding together. Okay.
Good.
I'll try to catch that. Thank you, Ilya. We'll watch this in the morning with some coffee and cocaine.
Nice.
In
the morning. Wow.
Oh, man, you got an early start to your day.
It's 1988 all over again.
Oh, that's funny, man. Rubén should rep more artists. Well, I've already talked about that before. They can come to me and ask me if they would like my help, but I'm not going looking for artists. So
and do you want to deal with people that aren't good to deal with?
That's why. It's like, if you come to me, then I'm gonna vet you. Like, I'm gonna look into you and see, you know, are you like my friend Mike Perkins? Do you do regular work? Do you always come through when you need to come through? Because if not, I don't want to do it. That's it. That's the bottom line. That's why I only have that one guy, because I don't want to deal with bullshit. And so many artists, unfortunately, are tough to deal with, right? Like, yeah. So, let me do a few more here. We keep catching up. Okay, Espresso. Sorry, Ilya. Sorry. Let me see. Wish I had known Rubén represented Perkins. I would love a Batman page. Well, they're coming soon, Ilya. Next month. Sometime in September, the first issue of the Batman Second Night will be released. And maybe a week or two after the first issue comes out, I will put the art out on the website. And you guys should know, for anybody interested potentially, unlike last year with Batman, did I say first night or second night? Anyways, it's Batman Second Night. Last summer, it was the three-part Batman First Night. And for those of you who may remember, Mike Perkins himself, for the first time ever in his career, he ended up keeping a bunch of the art for himself from each of the 3 issues. This time around, he is not doing that. He's taking like less than a handful, so he could give to some friends and also for himself. But the vast majority of pages will, I think, at least for the first issue, as far as I know, will be available. So there'll be more to choose from. So there you go. And you can still check my website, Ilya, if you want. I have pages left. I think there's 11 pages with Batman. Even if, like, I'm counting, even if it's only one panel with Batman on it, there's still, like, I think I last noted 11 pages left. And then there's other beautiful pages that don't have Batman. So thank you, Cobby. Appreciate it. And get on scroll to the bottom of any page of my website and add yourself to my mailing list if you want. Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate it. Hey, Alberto, what's up? Happy Sunday to you. Hello. Thank you. Perfect, Ilya. What up, homie? Thank you, Copy. Appreciate that. Part of the world you live in today. Thanks, Kavi. Yes. School year started to okay, sorry. Archie artists are wholesome.
Well, the Archie artwork is wholesome. I don't know about the Archie artists.
Matt, I've been interested on Kirby. What happened? What? Marcus UAS, I never had a problem with Archie artists. Paper page of CAF a week and a half ago hasn't shipped yet. You see what I mean? Exactly. That's my point. Like, what are you doing? At least tell me it's going to be delayed for 10 days and counting, you know? Tell me before I give you the money.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. So again, like, is it possible that this page has been up on CAF for 3 fucking years and this guy went on vacation? So you happen to communicate or paid for it, maybe I don't know if he had it linked to a shopping cart. I'm one of the few people who does. So maybe that's not a thing in this case. Maybe the guy took your money and then went on vacation, didn't tell you. But yeah, I mean, you do want communication. But even on vacation, I get access to my emails. I can be like, hey, I'm on vacation. I'll mail that, on Tuesday, the 20, whatever, so yeah, I don't think that's too much to ask for. So I agree with that. I agree with that complaint.
Yeah. What else do we have? I just wanted to say, I already typed it, but I know it's several minutes late, Jason, but thank you. And always great to see you. Have a great night, man. Let me go back up to the comment where oh my God, I'm still so behind. Wait, how is this possible? Did I miss my comment? Where's my comment? Shit. Comments are, oh yeah, here we are. Trust and a track record matters. Indeed, indeed. Stanley says, Matt can clean up the hobby. You can try. You can't control how people behave, right? Yeah. Each individual is responsible for their own behavior. So every sale is important.
Of the dealers that have come into the hobby in the last couple of years, like, and people that are, buying by committee. Like I think that's a really bad thing for the hobby and for other collectors in general. I mean, like, if you've got deep pockets and you want to buy stuff from people that isn't for sale, then you shouldn't be hitting them with graphs about like what supposed fair market value is. You should be offering them 150% of the value of the piece, at the highest possible level, and so like it's just disgusting behavior, like I have a problem with that type of stuff.
For sure. I just want to point out, Ilya makes it that's I've always believed in that. Every sale is important. Like they're not equally important. But they are equally important in terms of they should be in terms of how you treat the customer. So you should treat everybody well. No, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like if unless the buyer's a douchebag, and then they've earned a certain drop down as well. I'm just saying, like on my website, if Joe Blow comes along, and Joe Blow comes along very often, he comes along and he buys a $150 page from me, I'm going to give him an email as quickly as possible, which is usually within minutes or hours, whatever. If I'm home, it's minutes, right? Like as quick of an email response to let him know I got, hey, on my friendly email, hey, how's it going? Hey, thank you, whatever. I just want to let you know I got your order and I've got the page aside for you. And it should be going out tomorrow. I will get back to you again as soon as I get back from the post office, right? And to give you the tracking number. Now imagine you get 150 Joe Blows that day. You're going to send every one of those Joe Blows that message? I will, because I will copy and paste and only change up like the name or whatever, you know what I mean, to try to help me go fast. But I will. Listen, give you an example real quick. All right, Matt? I know it's not business, okay, but just to give you an idea of how I am on Facebook, when people like every year when they leave me, oh, happy birthday on my birthday, like now it's changed because I have a much smaller account. I used to have thousands of friends or whatever, right? And now my profile. I go in and thank every single one of them on my birthday. Absolutely, I do. I do. Because that's how I am. Because you took the time to type out, happy birthday, Rubén. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Yep. Thanks, Tom. Yes, because that's how I am. It's not your birthday 365 days a year. And right, exactly. And yes, it takes me a long time. But some of those sellers are volume sellers, are selling a lot of stuff. And I mean, you should treat all buyers equally, or well, I should say not equally. You should be, but you don't want to be in the lobby with Rod Tillwell when Cush's contract is getting stolen by another dude upstairs. If you get the reference, if you get the Jerry Maguire reference, the fact being that you can't waste your time on a $50 needy buyer. No, that's not what I'm talking about. $5,000 needy buyer. That's not what I'm talking about. And you may have 5 needy buyers may eliminate all of your time for the entire day to respond to emails. I've all I do in most days is spend them emailing people. Yeah. Yes, some of them are just conversations I'm having. But I think there is a difference, and I'm not defending people who are terrible at communication by any means. And I feel I'm very good at it. You buy something from me, you get immediately, I'm like, thank you for your purchase. Here's your tracking number. I threw in an extra thing. Like, that's generally what you get from me when you purchase something. And it's going to be very, very well packed. Like I'm going to bang it on the counter here before I send it out to make sure that nothing can happen to it. So, I mean,
And then there's people who don't know how to mail things, and that's a whole other issue. But like, you know, I think that you do have to understand that there are higher volume sellers that are dealing with a lot of moving pieces, and they don't always have time to get back to you. But if they're a month late and you're reaching back out like 2 weeks after the initial, like when it was supposed to go out, and then checking in every week because you haven't heard back from them and they still haven't gotten back to you, they suck. But that's everybody in this hobby almost. Like, it ain't me, it ain't you, but it's a lot of people in this hobby that are just, they have no time. Like, I gave you, you know, even if they haven't given the information, they maybe feel like they did. Like, they feel strongly that they did, and they can't understand why you're emailing them, you know, every week about this same thing. And then they realize, oh my God, I never did supply that information to them, or the package has already arrived.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, there's a lot of that happens too. But my basic thing here is that, yeah, service in this collectible hobby generally sucks. It's generally a very low level. And that if you get even above the most rudimentary amount of communication, you're actually, you know, it's rare. It's actually more than usual.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. Look, like couple of these guys are pointing out, you know, today's, and again, I don't, okay. So they pointed out that today's $200 page buyer maybe becomes, a couple of years down the line, the guy who starts buying $5,000 pieces from you.
That's why I treat them well, but I'm also not selling 150 pages a day.
No. Yeah. I get it. I just want to say to that though, that's not even my point, guys. To the two of you who kind of pointed that out. Me too, Kavi, by the way. I just want to say I do it because it's the right thing to do, not because I better treat him right because, you know, he could. I mean, I do. I'm a businessman, so of course I understand that. You know, the small collectors could become big collectors. I know that, but that's still not why I do it. I do it because I was raised and taught from a young age to just respect others the way that you hope they respect you. Treat them the way they respect that you hope they treat you. Nothing else. It's just because you're reaching out to me. So out of respect, I'm gonna reply to you as quickly as I can. And when I do that, if it's business related, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know if you need to know it up front, right? So you're not wondering, waiting, whatever, some weird shit's happening. Nothing. That's it. Everybody should do that. But like you said, in this hobby, that's more the exception than the rule, you know?
And in my shopping cart, I have, you know, your piece is guaranteed to ship out within 2 business days.
Yeah.
If it's something that I have myself. You know, and so there is a caveat there because I don't have everything. I do have some commission pieces that are on the site, and so I'm relying upon the person to ship them out. But I've only accepted commission pieces from people who are really attentive and good at shipping. Yeah. So, like, you know,
it's not my birthday, FYI, everybody. It's not my birthday. Yeah. No. Sorry to cut you off, Matt.
Scale your business to handle the volume, but that doesn't work in this business because sometimes you have an artist who has a limited amount of work and they get hot and you sell through it. So you don't bring in somebody to deal with it. You just deal with it in the way that you can. I mean, there's some really naive commenting going on here. And
let me just make it clear. Sorry, Matt, before you continue. Shaggy and CJ.
Now they're trolling you.
Anybody else? It's not my birthday. All right. Thank you. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
I think I said what I need to say. But you know, the other aspect, and someone had asked about, you know, Annabelle and Kirby and them not being like very forthcoming in how they describe things. And
say what you were going to say earlier, right? Because they just recently, you said started. Yeah. Go on with that.
So she handles a lot of these artists. And like I say, I think that the best way to notate is to notate exactly what it is so that there's not a lot of ways to interpret it. Now, I'm guilty of this. I had rules for submissions for the coaster show every year, and I would get thousands of submissions for the coaster show, and we only had places for about 980 pieces. And so you know, you had to follow the rules, and so there's a long list of rules. Now every year I would realize that there was one thing that wasn't articulated in the rules, so I would add it. So the rules became ridiculous. Like if they were printed in like a 10-point font, the rules would be, and printed on regular typewriter paper, the rules would be like 8 sheets of paper deep. And so at that point, no one's reading all the rules anyways. So giving them the rules, you know that they're not going to follow the rules. But my thing is like, if you don't have the basic, common sense to read the rules of the contest, then you send in something that doesn't obey the rules, I'm under no obligation to respond to your submission. I still would, more times than not. But if I was inundated with submissions and there were people that didn't follow the rules, I might just delete the email and not get back to them. And that's completely, I mean, even if they did follow the rules, you're never guaranteed a response. And I would even write, if you're accepted, you'll be notified, and then people would check in and be, well, have I been notified? Now I would generally say you haven't made it as well. And then that opens up the box for a bunch of further, emails about them bugging me about why their artwork didn't make it into the show. And like, do I have time to spend on that when I've got a show to set up? Probably not. So this expectation that people have when they submit can be overwhelming and very self-serving, in the same way that I think people don't establish before they give people money what they're getting for that money. Am I getting the piece? Hopefully. Am I getting it in a certain time frame? Who knows? Is there a penalty for me not receiving it in a certain amount of time? Unarticulated, and a lot of it's because buying things online is so impersonal. It used to be you could call me and I could run your credit card and we would have a conversation about it and I would explain all the buying and you would get all that information. If you had a question, you could follow up later, but you knew what was going to happen. And now most of my purchasing instruction is in the shopping cart itself. It tells you what you can expect as soon as you've paid, and even before. You can go to the About Us and we explain, how we do business. We, endeavor to ship things out within 2 days. If it's going to take longer, we'll notify you, but we will provide a tracking number as soon as we have one, if available, all that stuff. So that and then if you don't receive something in a certain amount of time, it's on you to contact and be like, hey, I haven't gotten it. Because I've had pieces that were shipped overseas and the person claims that they weren't notified by the delivery service, even though supposedly 3 door tags were left, and it's getting shipped back. And like, hey, what happened to that piece? And then you get on and you track it internationally, you realize it's getting shipped back to you already. That could take a year.
Yes.
I've had it take 3 years.
Yeah.
Very famously. But so I mean, like, it's this whole system is a 2-person system, right? So like, if you notify me that something isn't right, I want to investigate it, get to the bottom of it. If I don't have an answer for you in a day, I should write back to you and say, I've gotten your email. I've been looking into it. I haven't learned anything yet, but I'll notify you as soon as I do. Please check back with me at such and such a date. Give them instruction. Don't leave anything open. This is something that the seller should do automatically. And as a buyer, if you're getting worried about stuff, articulate, hey, I paid you on this date. Here's the invoice number. Here's the piece I bought. Here's what I paid. This is when you said it was going to be sent. I have not received it yet. It is X amount of days later. Do you have additional tracking information for me? Can you check on your end why this hasn't arrived? But clearly, don't do that 2 days after the thing shipped.
Yeah.
And I see people that lose their minds in a day after like making a purchase. I mean, I haven't seen it personally to me, but I've seen other retailers post about this. So I mean, like, it's a balance, right? But
of course,
to your point, to my point, service isn't great.
Yeah. It is what it is. Okay. Let us switch entirely here. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't understand what that even says.
Hold on. So with the tracker now being so cheap, You can buy some brands for $10.
What brands? What the hell is that?
Always had one to any larger orders with a return envelope because a lot is getting lost. Oh, I think he's talking about those people. Some of these guys told me on a previous episode that when you ship stuff, people buy these Apple things, the Apple company, and they have these tracking devices, and you put them on, you attach them to the package, and you send it. But I don't know what's all about. Like, how, you don't get your tracker. Like, why would you spend money on something? You're not going to get the tracker back. That must cost money. Like, so I don't know how that works. I don't know how any of that works. You know?
I guess that they can find out where you live if there's an air tracker on your package.
Like an Apple, yeah, like I said, he's saying like an Apple tracker. But again, how does that work?
Weird problem that we haven't addressed. I don't even know what that's about. But sure.
See, like, right. So an Apple tracker is $25, right? So I don't get it. How does that work, Tom? You're gonna put a $25 tracker on a package for what? And then the tracker doesn't come back. Like, I don't understand. How does that work? Like,
I guess if it doesn't get delivered to the right house, you know where it's at.
Yeah. But
except when they open the package and realize there's an Apple tracker in it and get in their car and drive it to the pond and throw it in the water.
But 99.9% of packages do arrive at their destination. What I'm saying is,
but sure.
What I'm okay, whatever. But like, how, I don't get it. If you're putting a tracker on a package that you're not going to get back, and it's costing you $25, how does that make any sense in a hobby where people are spending thousands per piece, yet constantly bitch about $25 shipping costs?
It's $60 international shipping.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's like, what? So I don't get any of that shit. But let me catch up, and then let's switch topics. It connects the Wi-Fi, right? But you don't get it back. That's what I'm trying to understand, is you don't get it back, right?
And they can drive that air tracker someplace else. Like,
peace of mind. Mark Hay does it.
Okay,
but am I right, guys? You don't get it back, so you're losing your $25. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
You can buy them for $10 now. Okay, but you lose that money, right?
Yeah, like, absolutely.
That's what I'm understanding here.
It don't always work either.
What's up, Derek? By the way. Yeah. I mean, what's up?
That's amazing.
And Tom has you ship back the tracker in a prepaid envelope. Who's gonna be like these people? Most of the people that I deal with, I wouldn't say most. Like, I have always, when I send my email to tell them, hey man, just want to let you know, as promised, I shipped your art out today. Here's your tracking number. I also say, hey, I would really appreciate it if once the art is in your hands, please just give me a quick email back so I know it arrived safely, And because I've been doing it for years, the regulars and semi-regulars, they tend to get back to me, So I don't have to keep thinking about it myself. Oh, let me check the tracking or whatever for that guy's package, right? So that's nice. But newer people, they don't usually, they're like, yeah, okay, I'll let you know as soon as it gets, and then I never hear from them again, So that's the thing. So if they can't even be bothered to remember to just let you know, hey, I received the package, thank you. What makes you think they're going to go out of their way to stick this thing in a return envelope and go mail it somewhere? You're insane. That's not happening. It's not happening. If these trackers work the way that it seems like they work, and you're telling me who cares $25? Even if Tom's right and they're only $10, at $10 you're gonna blow $10 out of your pocket for every package you send out? Really? In a hobby where everybody's bitching about $25.
Now let me also say this. I mean, because there's a lot of people are responding to comments like we're reading them in real time. And I mean, honestly, if you're going to comment, give a complete thought so we know what you're talking about. Yeah. But, this idea that, a $200 buyer can become a $5,000 return buyer. Yeah, they can, or they may not. Like, most don't. Most $200 buyers never graduate to become $5,000 buyers. Most buyers are unique buyers. Repeat business is even rare in this business. So like, this notion that automatically, it's worth dedicating as much time to a $200 sale as it is to a $5,000 sale. That's stupid from every possible business metric. But you should have a basic line of communication. I agree with that. This is my whole point why I even raised it, is that you should have an email that goes out and tells people what they can expect.
They're not going to do it, Tom.
They're absolutely not going to do it.
I want to say to that. They're not going to do it.
Yeah. Maybe 2% of people will do complicated, unnecessary bullshit. But beyond that, and you kind of knocked me off topic a little bit again.
I'm sorry.
The train of thought here. So
you recover your thoughts.
With commissions, it's tough because even the dealer doesn't know when that commission's going to be done. The artist doesn't know when that commission's going to be done. I think a lot of artists speak in aspiration, right? I'm going to have that for you in 2 weeks. They want to have it to you in 2 weeks, but they really shouldn't be guaranteeing that. Like if they think they can do it in 2 weeks, they should say a month.
Yeah, exactly.
And not try and overplease. But a lot of artists are also this. So artists are also used to people asking them for commissions and chatting them up and never ordering and never paying. To go back to Jason Sean Alexander's point, that even at his level, he's chasing people down for money all the time. Now, your early, unpublished, maybe somewhat known, somewhat published artist is getting contacted when they put up a really nice piece on their Instagram by a lot of people like, hey, do you do commissions? Maybe they get 10 of those. And they respond, yeah, I do. What do you have in mind? Like, oh, do you have posted rates? Well, no, I don't have posted rates, but, it depends on what it is, right? So you start getting this back and forth, and it's all in text, right? From basically anonymous people with screen names and not actual names. And so they're used to getting shined, like all the time, to getting ghosted from people that seemed really interested but aren't. And those are just people that like to talk to artists. Maybe they think the artist is good looking. Maybe they like the artwork, or they're fanboys. They're like, they just like the drawing of some naked girl and they're horny. It's like you get all these types of people, and it's extremely frustrating to the artists. So their communications get less and less and less and less and less and less. And so even when someone who's seriously interested comes along, they don't know you're seriously interested until you actually pay.
Right.
Because they've gotten shined on so many times that everybody seems like they're full of shit. So like, you have to also understand that that's where the artist is coming at it.
So Everyday Adams Comics says, I disagree, Matt. Detractors are way more likely to share their negative experiences publicly. That's a true statement.
Sure.
Social media is so powerful these days that even one bad small dollar customer can be very bad for business.
Except when you're dealing in art. Because where else are you going to get it? It's not like you wake up one day and say, I want to buy some art. And it's like this white page that has blue lettering that says art on it that you can buy at your local grocery store. Generic art. You want the thing that you want. And the person who has it is the person who has it.
Oh, sure. But I think Matt, what he's saying, though, is don't forget, like, people, there are assholes in this hobby, right?
Yeah.
And there are certainly people that, I wouldn't be surprised if the assholes, and they've thankfully been few and far between over the years, but like I've had the type of first time customer who they approach in this indignant manner, rude, like they don't know me from a hole in the wall, or maybe they think they know me or whatever, right? And right away they approach with any number of crazy, rude manner. And it's like, oftentimes it'll be like, yeah, I'll give you this much for this. Like literally, that's what the email says. Yeah, I'll give you X for this. Not hi there. Or if you don't know my name, hi there. Or if you know my name, hey, Rubén, whatever. No. Yeah, I'll give you this much for this piece. And let's say they put the link to on my website, And it's like, and it's some lowball thing or whatever. And it's like, really? That's how you approach me the first time? I've never spoken to you. And funny enough, Matt, over the years, like a lot of those guys have been, yes, not people that I've ever dealt with, but they're people that I know by their name, who they are within the hobby or whatever. And it's like, why would you do that? Like,
I mean, there's a lot of borderline, I don't want to say borderline personality disorder. There may be a lot of that too.
Kind of.
But there's a lot of on the spectrum collectors. I mean, I think that collecting anything has a high degree of people who are perhaps on the spectrum not great communicators. And so why are we expecting that the people who sell art are good communicators? Why are we expecting that the people who make art are good communicators? This is a problem in the hobby, and it may go deeper than just people not being, smart about business. It may be that they are slightly maladjusted,
But let me finish sort of like give you another like an actual example, right, of what Everyday Adams Comics I think is kind of saying, right? Like, so let's say the guy who comes to my site and he makes me an offer, and then I say like, no, how about this much or whatever, and again they reply unhappily, but they still buy it. Right, but you could tell they're like unhappy, right? But they still do it, right?
Oh yeah.
But in their heads, it's clear to me they blame me for making them pay more than they wanted to, whatever that means. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like just one example of what he was saying, where like just for that experience alone, that guy can go on to like various groups, message boards, and whatever. Yeah, you guys should have seen. I dealt with this asshole. I went to his website on Aspirin. He was such an ass. Like, you know what I mean? In their minds, they're the good guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's why a lot of the Facebook groups require you post receipts. Like, you can't just make a blind accusation. You have to include like some interaction. And then, I mean, like, somebody will tag the artist who has been defamed, and they will have an opportunity to respond. In a lot of cases, the buyer may have been blocked. Now, we can't assume that just because the artist blocked the buyer, that buyer didn't deserve to get blocked. I mean, it's very possible they did, but I mean, you got to go with the information at hand, right? And I think that, again, like, that we're not dealing with super social people. I mean, choosing to draw alone in a room all day long is going to cause certain personality traits, right? And if you are a professional working artist, that's the gig, kid. Like, you are in a room alone drawing all day long. And when your kid or your dog or your wife or your girlfriend or the fucking mailman or whatever comes in and upsets that progress, you got to find a way to reset and get back in and do that again.
Yes, for sure.
So that creates a certain personality type. Similarly, people who collect comic art, I think, to a greater degree than people who collect other types of quote unquote fine art, tend to be of a particular type of personality, or at least a particular range of personalities that isn't necessarily the most social and most outgoing and well-spoken. And so there's that. So, I mean, there's a lot of aspects to this. But, why I thought this was kind of like a good topic to handle, because number one, people love negative stuff, and this is kind of a negative thing. We started off with people dying, for Christ's sake. So in a way, this is almost like a happy thing that we all get to, kvetch about, the same people that we all know are bad people.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's good for you. It's not good for everybody, and, like, and sometimes, and are you doing anybody else a favor by not airing that problem? Are you maybe helping that person make another victim? I love it. I love it when he says I'm negative. He loves to kvetch and he loves to svitz. But, the bottom line here is that this is an aspect that doesn't get talked about a lot. People don't name names. We named names. Like, I have a feeling this is going to be a video that performs well. I have a feeling this is going to be a video that gets shared a lot.
People like to hear you, though, Matt. So that's not a fair statement.
Oh,
they like to listen to you, so it's going to perform pretty.
Oh, thank you, sir. But I mean, no. But I think this is the type of thing that people need to know too. That I think you need to know who not to buy stuff from. There are a lot of people that go on, but if they go online and whine with receipts, then that's useful. just going on and saying, oh, I didn't like this interaction. Because, yeah, there's three sides to every story, right? There's my side, your side, and there's the truth. So, we all have, an idea of how things go down. And so, but I do believe, is it bad to expect a certain amount of communication? Yeah, I think we're going to cut all the corners. I think that there'd be two ways of dealing with that situation, and one of them is legal. To speak to that, just be careful in who you're buying commissions from. Whenever possible, I honestly recommend going through a dealer when you can. But I saw this is a big complaint. I saw this as people were complaining about Kirby art, and they're like, oh, I wanted to buy this commission from this artist, and they charged a certain amount of money. But when I talked to the artist by themselves, they charge less.
Well, yeah,
that's on the artist. That ain't on the rep. That artist is breaking their deal with their rep. And if you get burned by that artist, you have very little repercussion. Whereas if you get burned by the rep, you have a lot of avenues. Most reps want to make things right.
Matt, that's why that's one of the many reasons. For many years now, I just stopped making an effort to try to get people to represent, right? Because of so many artists, they're just terrible business people. They don't know how to behave properly. I mean, for so many reasons, different reasons. And it's just like, to me, one of the most annoying things, both as a potential rep for the artist and as a customer, okay, from the customer side of things, every time I see artists who are represented by someone, right? They have a rep.
Yeah.
But then you see them online also soliciting for, like, let's say commissions or even offering, hey, I got these, I just found these pages in the back of my couch or whatever. I got these pages for sale. What are you doing? You have a rep. Why would you go behind your rep? The whole point of having a rep is you go through them. Don't be doing your own little side thing on the side or whatever. Like, it's one thing if you guys have that kind of an agreement or whatever.
Yeah. Not all reps have the ability to sell commissions. Like, a lot of artists will preserve that right. Then they'll do 3 or 4 commissions, and then they'll ask their rep to handle commissions. Because, like, I can't stand dealing with the public. Like, these buyers are driving me crazy. Can you please handle this? But can we do it at a slightly different, percentage or whatever?
Yeah.
And so a good rep. So in a fine art story,
the soul of Tokyo in the house, hasn't been by in a while. Just wanted to say hi to David. And he just recently picked up a piece from me. So that's why he's saying what he's saying. He's not just blowing smoke up my ass, everybody. I just sent him a piece. And I appreciate that, David. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Always great dealing with him, too. So if anybody ever gets an email because they want to buy something from you, you get an email because somebody, the soul of Tokyo, he is a good soul. So definitely nothing but good things to say about him. So,
now part of why our shows, I think, work in a way, and I think just basically the way that you've laid out the channel, Rubén, and why I think that it sets you apart from other people that are quote unquote in the hobby. And I mean, are there a lot of podcasts dedicated to comic art specifically? Probably not. But I mean, there's a lot of there are comic centric channels that also dip their toe in comic art, and they get a lot of views. And then that becomes the story, right? Is like you get a guy that's got 7,500 subscribers, or 30,000 subscribers, and they'll do a show on comic art, and then that will become the comic art thing for most collectors that collect comic books. We're more specialized, right? But I think why your show is special is that you're not in a position where you require something from anybody in the chat or anybody in the business. And you only work with people that that have integrity. And so you would never have anything bad to say about them. Right. So when you do say something that could be perceived as negative, there's an element of truth to it that clearly you believe that is at least based in some version of reality, right?
Right.
Like
I appreciate you that. Yeah, that's very true. That last statement is very true. Absolutely.
There are 3 sides to every story. That is one side of the story. But there are a lot of people never go there because they're dependent upon a revenue source that comes from the very people that are screwing other people over. And so you're never going to see certain other channels speak ill of artists who do bad things because they still need them to make artwork for their other business, whatever that business may be. You know, and I'm not getting on them for that. I understand why they have to do it, but it represents a lack of transparency, whereas this is a direct to the community show. This show isn't meant to put people on a pedestal. It's not a PR program for, you know, someone that we're talking about. It's a state of the hobby show, right? And so I'm not worried about, you know, Jay Lee having a problem that I've said that he doesn't deliver artwork, because he knows he doesn't deliver artwork. Right. And he doesn't owe me anything, because he would owe me something for 4 months and then something would happen. And I would either get my money back or I would get the piece. That's just the way that would happen. That's who I am. And, you know, I can say these things about these artists that we all know have a terrible process in delivering their work. We can also absolutely shed light on dealers who are doing things that lack integrity or lack transparency. So, you know, I think that while there's a certain aspect of negativity, I think ultimately it's good news. It's good information that people have to understand to be able to succeed in this hobby. I would get my piece or I would get a refund. I'm qualified to say what that refund entails.
Okay. Fantastic insights as always, Matt. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Time for me to go, I think. I think you get other people to have on.
It's perfect. I love that. See, I love that. So that's it. That's why. I just FYI, before you go, let me ask you something real quick. Sure. Last week, I told these guys at the end of the show, I think it was, that I got, you know, as usual, I've run out of planned shows, so I'm back to just going week to week, and next week will probably be another hangout.
No anxiety in that.
Yeah, but I did mention that I did have an idea of my views. You know, I've mentioned my views on the future of the hobby, how I think the hobby's going, the future of the hobby, whatever. And lately I've been thinking about something, and it's more slanted negative now, not so positive. And I wanted to talk about it, and I thought, you know what? I haven't done an episode of I don't know if I did 1 or 2 in the past. I think it was 2. I did a show called The State of the Hobby. And I told these guys, you know, I think I'll save the topic. I'll bring it up maybe because I think it's about the overall, you know, health of the hobby. So I think it's worthy of it'll take up an entire show kind of thing, right? Sure. And then I don't know if
I think that'd be a great show to have Kavi, maybe Hyder, you know, like to have like 4, 5, 6 people on. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's why I'm thinking of maybe to have a few people. So just want you to know that I want to maybe plan it. So if that's something you'd want to join in on, because I know that's like also, you know, a topic that you always are into as well, right? So
yeah, I'd be down for that for sure.
You know,
we'll figure out the timing and what weekend works. I've got a little bit of travel coming up, but we'll make it happen.
Okay, sounds good, man. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, guys.
Have a great week.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see. I think it's at the bottom, Matt. There we go. All right. That was awesome. Had a great time with Matt. Had a great time when I was alone before Matt. So that was a lot of fun. Let me see what comments I may have missed here. Let's see. A Beantown Beatdown, right? And thanks, late thanks for Matt. Movie review show. You know what? At the time that we're doing now, Marcus, I'm thinking, given that I have nothing planned again next week, and it probably won't be able to get a show and tell or a commission collecting show together, I'm probably gonna have to hang out again. And so I figure, since they'll be doing it next week, I figure we could probably save movie movie, TV talk for next week, and maybe close this one out with a little bit of comic book talk. What do people think? Anybody watching still? You know, how many of you watching are also still readers? Neon Dragon. See, the problem is we got the talkers, right? I'm the talker. Matt's a talker. Neon Dragon's a talker. Like, can you imagine the three of us plus Nikki B? Like, we'd have a 24-hour show, right? So as funny as it is, and as interesting and fun as I think it is to listen to these guys talk, just for the sake of the length of the episode, we can't really afford to have me and one other talker. One plus myself is more than enough already. So yeah, I can't get another one. But I'd like to get Neon back for something else at some point. I miss John. He hasn't been by in a while, but he's been posting art recently. Comic Collector UA, thank you, Rubén and Matt. Thank you. It's not over. I mean, unless it's over for you. Thank you for being here, man. As always. Whoa, interest rates lowered, more money available. Well, we'll see. Well, you wear a suit for the State of the Union. It's State of the Hobby, not the State of the Union hobby. State of the Hobby. So that's why this hobby is meat and potatoes, right? No suit required. Calling balls and strikes. Well done, gents. Hey, Stephen Hunter. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It ain't over unless people don't want to talk about. I don't have a lot to talk about comics-wise, but I do want to mention a little bit something. Bye, Matt. Matt, thanks for the discussion. Matt, sorry I got your comments late, everybody, but he appreciates them, I'm sure. You know that. Glad that's over with. Go another 3 hours. For Matt, I'm always alone having a good time beating off. You've been beating off a lot tonight. Good topic. Thank you, Ilya. I read a ton. My pile is huge. I don't know, though. Me as the host, I should be the big reader. It's kind of hard to do a lot of reading, talking when you haven't been able to read a lot, Thanks again, Matt. I still read. Bye-bye. Nobody reads. Hey, the honest truth is that a lot of us in this hobby, in the art hobby, don't read comics. It is very true. You should do Pat. What's up, Pat? Pat wants a 24-hour show. We'd have to do it like 6 hours each, one at a time, And that's tough because I remember when I did that 5-hour show by myself, the first one I did without Matt. Oh, man. Woo, that was exhausting. Non-stop talking for 5 hours, 5 minutes. Yeah. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I was thinking the Neon for movies. I know, but me and him, CJ, me and him, holy shit, it goes too long. It's hard, and I'm polite, so I don't like to cut off people when they're making points and stuff. So it makes it hard. And he loves to talk about the stuff he loves about movies, But then again, I love to have him on, and I do love to be with people who love movies. So. But at the same time, we've done it together before, so I wouldn't mind switching it up, and having somebody else. Rubik's 20 of your pieces to show me, and have the fugue at discuss them line right. Okay, you really screwed that one up. The guest discuss. Rubik picks 20 of your pieces. Oh, did the Ranger ask what a show and tell is? Is that what it is? Thank you for trying to explain it. Lonearranger. Yeah, it would be a little bit tough to do with you, Lonearranger, because we the interactivity that we do with the show, the interactivity alone probably adds between 90 and 120 minutes, like an hour and a half to 2 hours to every episode, believe it or not. I have done some show and tell episodes with collectors, and we finished somewhere between 3 hours and 15 to 3 hours and a half. Right now we're at 2 hours and 50 minutes, so given that you were able to do it tonight, you might be able to come in and do one. But yeah, and if it helps to get you out earlier, maybe we do one with less pieces. Usually I showed about 20 pieces, but it could be 15 pieces if it was just in your case, you know, to sort of get you to bed earlier. I mean, you can feel free to email me if you want, if you're interested in doing it. You can certainly reach out to me here, right there. So it's my name, which is also the channel name, and Gmail is easy to remember, right? So if you want to do that, by all means, let me know. Yeah. So I will. If you have a gallery, if your collection is online somewhere, I will select the pieces. And I won't tell you what they are, and you'll see them. You'll see what I selected one at a time as we show them to everybody. And then you just talk a little bit about each piece, what you like about it, you know. And in between, we chat some more. I tell you what I like about it. And then we, you know, as we do tonight, we always talk with everybody else here in the chat room. We all get to have our say, and we all talk together. And yeah, so that's what it's about. So they're fun. If you don't have your art collection posted online anywhere, and you would still like to do something like that, we could still do it. It's just you're gonna have to do the work of choosing the pieces that you want to talk about, which I guess is fine. And then you just email me scans of those pieces, you know, and we do it that way. So let's see. Fine, weather suit. Yeah, my suit's too big on me now anyways. The hobby is strong. Oh, Stingray took off. Oh, where's that? Well, I guess I'm out. I need to go soon anyways. All right, the guest discuss, talk about until one of your voices goes. Good night, Newell, if you are really leaving. Let's see, State of the Canadian Commonwealth. But you read digitally now. How are you not reading? I'm just busy. It's not. It's just I'm busy. Yeah, this is busy. And I will say, I want to keep up. I do keep up, like I told you guys. I keep up with politics and sports. So I do spend a lot of my free time trying to keep up with, you know, the news, the everyday news. And so I look at a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of stuff. That does take up a lot of my time. That's the reason. And I think that's important. And since that's important, I prioritize over sort of having fun. So that's why that takes up a lot of my free time, which then doesn't leave me that much for reading and watching movies, you know? We're going to compare comic book pile sizes. No, we don't have to, because a lot of us admit we've got piles all over the house. There's no point. You're wrong. You heard incorrectly, Peter. Rubén just wants to review Tales from the Balls Out. What? He actually is reading more. I am. Look at he's still here. A telethon for 24 hours. Right on. That's a fun guy to have on. I just like busting his chops. That's good. That's what we do, right? That's what we do. Sean Clancy, show me yours and I'll show you mine. Sorry you just got back. No check-in tonight. No worries. Yeah, it'll probably end soon anyway, Hydra. I have like 40 trade. Yeah, I'm probably somewhere in that range as well, Tom. I have the first off. I'll come hang out next week. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, pop in if you want. No worries, man. Appreciate that, Newell. And just finished the most recent Jaime Hernandez book and then started a reread of Guy Davis's BPRD run. There you go. There's a guy who's reading. 24-hour show filibustering the State of the Hobby show. Go home, Kavi. You're drunk. Again, do iPhone typing well. Coffee gets better when he's drinking. The smoker you drink, the player you get. Oh boy, more fuel, more words per minute. Thank you, Matt, for your insights. Wow, that was late. You must have fallen, David. You must have your feed must have fallen behind. Can we turn the show into a drinking game? You could if you want to, but you'll be drinking alone. And who the hell wants to drink alone? Got that, thanks, but don't have a gallery online, right? You heard what I said after that, right? If you want to be able to pick the pieces and talk about your favorite 15 or 20 pieces, We can do that too, my friend. We can do that too. That'd be great. And just so you know, Loner Ranger, I've had many people who I asked, most of the people that I had on to do show and tell episodes. And by the way, if you look at the homepage at the top, there's all these tabs. There's a tab for playlists. The playlists will show you all the different series that I do. And so just look for the one called Comic Art Show and Tell. And you can run through it and see all the names. You might recognize some of the names if you've been online, you know, and on social media. And some of those people, just so you know, some of those people, most of those people I asked because they were viewers like you. And some of them, in fact, I even asked literally the first time they popped into the show, for the first time they discovered my show, my channel. And I asked them to do it and they said, yeah. And we did it, you know. So, you know, and I do them with collectors, with collections of all types. So don't, you know, love your art, be happy and proud of what you own. I don't care what you collect, right? Just be proud of what you own, right? And as long as you're happy to talk about it and you have things to say about it, we want to hear you talk about your collection. That's what's fun. Give us a tease of your negative hobby view. No. Emailing pieces. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So anyways, no pressure, but yeah, give it some thought. Like I said, look at the playlist for show and tell episodes, and maybe you know, fast forward, stop, listen a bit, to some of the episodes that you see in that playlist, and you know, to get an idea of how it would work, you know. But I think you'll get the idea that it's pretty fun, and we all get to know each other a little bit better, you know. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. NFL starts on the 4th, indeed. Also, Rubén has to watch K-pop Demon Hunters at least once a day. That takes up all my reading time, guys. You know, he let the cat out of the bag there. Discussing artists and dealers' interactions, communications. I enjoy transactions with other CAF members because we can bond over our galleries and likely have common taste. That's true. I mean, that's the great part of, you know, again, like I always say it, it's the camaraderie that we share, you know, once we get the, you know, have reasons to speak with each other and one another. Absolutely, Stephen. Okay, I'm out for real. All right, peace. Hopefully see you next week there, Noel. Do you collect or own any artist editions? I don't collect them anymore, Noel. Sorry, David, but for the same reason that I needed to switch to digital for many years, because I just got sick and tired of having to have piles, you know, a bunch of trade paperbacks inside these plastic bags that are stuffed, so they're like, you know, stretched out so tight. For the same reason, no room. So I love them, but no room. I have a few. I have maybe, I don't know, half a dozen of them, you know, but I stopped buying them years ago. So I have some of the, you know, early ones. Peace, yes, sir. I feel Rubén owns at least two artist editions. Like I said, about half a dozen. And CJ's fading fast. Yeah. Get to bed, CJ. Get a good rest, man. You deserve it. You need the rest, man. Good show. Yeah, stay healthy, man. Good luck. Let us know what happens with the doctor's appointment. Room the collector drinking game. Take a shot every time I say cut corners, artist proof, and take one shot every time everyone says the chat. Good night, Matt. I'll only play that drinking game. Rubén covers my bail. Yeah, guys. So, you know what? I feel like there's still like almost 4 dozen of you here, which is fantastic. So let me just say thank you. And you know what? Before I say anything else, something I forgot to do at the beginning because of the sad news that I had to report, and I didn't get to do because there's 3 of you just dropped out. Wait, don't leave. Let me just please give me at least a minute or two. Let me do a couple of promos. Okay, and let me see real quick here. I didn't do my promos earlier. All right, and I feel bad. So in order of how I saw them. So Carl, he did an original art unboxing number 47. He's back to numbering them. Unboxing mixed with a July comic reviews episode. Select July Comic Reviews. Okay. And that was 6 days ago. He did it literally, he posted it the day after my last episode. So that's why it's almost a week old now. So putting that in there. And yes, Carl, yes, wait for that. Lee, man, you got to rewind. Just rewind to the beginning of the show, my friend. Rewind to the beginning of the show and see for yourself. Rewatch on Rewind. And let me get to the next one. The next one, unfortunately, Stingray left. But Stingray also put out a video today. And again, it's his second video on his brand new YouTube channel. All right. And it's an unboxing. It's called Art Unboxing, Obi of Silence. Obi as in Obi-Wan. Obi of Silence. So I'm assuming it's Obi-Wan. I haven't watched it because I only noticed it like an hour before I went live tonight. Okay, so I'm going to put the link to that. And please give him a subscribe. Help him, encourage him to build up his following. And here you go. Here's the link to that. And then last but not least, I got some art to show you guys. So I'm glad you guys stuck around. Let me see. So Nikki B, obviously, guys, check it out. The Original Art Experience every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. In this case, you can see it will be the Original Art Experience. I did notify Nick already about the typo. But yeah, so that's going to be happening this coming Friday. All right. Here's the man himself. All right. And let me show you a little preview of what he's got for sale this coming week. Here, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, it looks better this way. All right. So we have, first of all, Red Sonja, Sword of Sorrow, #1, page 12 by Sergio Davila. And then we have Red Sonja, #78, page 3, also by Sergio Davila. Next up, we have another page from Red Sonja, Sword of Sorrow, from #2, page 20, by Sergio Davila. An action page, no less. We also have a illustration of Red Sonja, a really funky, cool illustration by Dave Bullock. So that's pretty cool looking. I love that one, actually. And then he's also going to have a page from Wolverine Punisher Revelation, #1, page 10. This is by Pat Lee and Alvin Lee. And some of you guys may remember just last week in our show teaching you about options on how to collect original art on a budget. You guys may remember that Cove had a really great modern day piece from Detective Comics by this artist, Marcos Mars and Luciana Del Negro. And this one, that's who drew this piece that Nick is going to have for sale next this coming Friday. And it's from Batman Confidential #39, page 10. And then penultimate piece, boy, Nicky loaded me up. He's got a page here from World's Finest, #275. It's page 8, and this is by Trevor Von Eden and Larry Malstead. And guys, speaking of Trevor Von Eden, I watched this 20-minute, really cool video from, I think it was the late 70s, maybe 1979. Tom, #1 Marvel fan, he's the one who saw it first, and he posted it on Facebook. So thank you, Tom. Great video. And there's a clip of it where you see Trevor Von Eden in the office getting tips from the editor. So cool. I believe it was from when he was 17 years old, 16 or 17. He was a wonderkind. So yeah, just so crazy to see some kid in high school at the DC offices getting professional work. Just amazing. And last piece in tonight's preview for Nikki B's show is this amazing page by Pat Broderick and John Tartaglione of Master of Kung Fu, number 70, page 26. And that looks fantastic. Almost very Gene Day-ish. So very, very cool, Nikki B. There you go, guys. That is this Friday on Nick's show. And of course, for those of you who haven't already subscribed to Nick's show and you want a direct link to see all that art, I can show you right here because I'm popping the link to that precise episode. Just did it right there, right now. All right. So there you go. And let me see. So yeah, so I'm going to catch up to the comments here real quick. Hopefully there wasn't too many. Hey, what's up, Caesar? Watching the beginning. Some sad news tonight. A couple of collectors lost their dads, and we lost a collector of our own from our ranks, Dan T. Dan T, otherwise known as Bootlegging is a Habit, passed away after a battle with cancer, unfortunately. And the fathers of our very own Maki Pupu and Sean Clancy both passed away this week as well. So we talked about it early on in the early part of the show. You should do a show and tell of your Tom Grummett collection. Now, I did a show and tell of my own collection before, and I hated it. I did it because, you know, it was one of those weeks where I had nothing prepared and I didn't want to have to skip a show. So I put together a show and tell of my own collection, and I showed some Grummett art, whatever, but I don't want to do that again. That wasn't fun for me. I like doing it for other people, you know. Everyone's getting so old, we can't get the 5-hour shows anymore. Exactly. Had to drop out earlier. Go back and check it out. Please do, Carl. And don't forget to email me and let me know when you want to chat privately. There you go. There you go. Oh, wait, just in time for a promo. There you go. So I'm sorry, Newell, you missed your own promo. Too much sad news tonight. Indeed, I got the Mike Perkins Artist Edition of the first night after you showed you. Oh, you did? Oh, cool. Pretty great and reasonable size. Yeah, that's a reasonable sized one, Ian. Oh, glad you got it. Did you get you got the one with the one where he did the original drawing inside, or did you get the regular version with the regular that comes together with the miniseries, the German version of the book? I'm assuming you got it directly from Mike with an illustration inside. And I have to record a quick one because finding time to record has been challenging. Indeed it has, for sure, yeah. Magic the Gathering art. I don't have any of that. Love Newell's Eye for Indie art. EXP me. It fits the graphic. Yeah, it's too. You know what? Before we go, I will talk at least about news from the Fallout, just because, man, that was the thumbnail. That was the thumbnail for tonight. So at least I was hoping to get at least to that, you know. Wrong show, Goo. Wrong show. But yeah, you posted that while I was talking about Nikki B. So that's the right show. Yeah. Can you guarantee that Matilda Lutz will appear? I cannot. I can definitely not guarantee that. Indeed, nice Batman. Copy getting sleepy. Of course you are. Cool. It was a cool video. Yeah, absolutely. I showed Trevor on Eden that video, and he said he remembered seeing it back in the day. That's cool. Joe Jusco's on EXP tomorrow as well. Yeah, catch that one, guys. I have a Gene Day Kung Fu piece from 117. Cool. Maybe one day, if you decide to do a show and tell, we'll check it out. Yes, was hoping to hear your thoughts. All right. Yeah, I got one remark from from his website. Cool. Happy to hear that. That's awesome. And what's that for, Kavi? It's spoilers? Is it for spoilers? Let me know if it's spoiler related. Go to bed, Kavi. There's not much to tell anyway. So let me say, guys, for those of you who came in late and weren't here before, let me just show you, if you didn't catch this. So I called it News from the Hangout. I thought that was pretty cool. A little play on words there, because I read a new comic today called News from the Fallout, right, by Jeffrey Allen Love. And he is one of the artists that Felix Liu represents. And he does some really, really abstract, I guess you could call it, abstract, cool, black and white, I don't know how else to describe it, work. It's really cool. You should check it out. Typically, he does just illustrations for sale and commissions. And then recently I asked on one of my episodes, you know, can he tell a story? I've never seen him do anything other than these commission pieces and illustrations he does of his own volition, you know. And but I like them. They're really cool. And then people in the chat told me that, yeah, he has this new comic out or whatever called News from the Fallout. So I got my hands on some copies, and I read it today, about 4 hours before I went live tonight. Yeah, so let me say I really enjoyed it. Okay, so the overall news is good, very good. And I don't mind spoilers, but if you think it's really great and I should read it, then right. Let me tell you this. There's something I can tell you. I'm going to tell you anyways. Just stick around. I'm not going to spoil anything, okay? I'll tell you something and you'll see why it doesn't really spoil anything. So anyways, so this comic book, A News from the Fallout, what you can gather from that name, especially when you kind of see that imagery of a mushroom cloud, so it takes place in the 1950s, right? The Nevada desert, right, where the military is conducting atomic explosion experiments, right? More of a vibe and feeling thus far with the story, but it's just so visually striking, right? Next, I'm going to recommend is Post Malone's Big Rig. I'm not going to. I don't listen to his music. I wouldn't know it if he came on the radio. So 1950s, right? You know, some you know, they're doing bomb tests, whatever. And if you've seen any of the art, you can see that there's kind of monster-looking characters, right? Creatures, I guess, with sharp teeth or whatever. So essentially, yeah, they do bomb experiments. I guess the experiments cause mutations, let's just say. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's only been 2 issues, guys. And the one thing I'll say is, I just found out today, or maybe you guys told me already, but I forgot that it's only 6 issues long, a 6-issue miniseries. I got to tell you, I don't know how good of a story it's going to be, because the one, if there's any knock so far, it's not the art. If there's any knock I can mention is that I really enjoyed it, the story and the art. The issue I have with the story, though, is that it looks like it's a showcase for the art. So what happens is there's not a lot of dialogue or text at all. And to me, 1/3 of the miniseries is already over, right? 33% is gone. And the best way I can describe the first 2 issues is that it feels like it's only the first 10 minutes scene of a movie, and then the next scene is another 5 to 10 minutes. Like, it feels like it's only at the very beginning of the story. So I'm really scared as to, you know, how are you going to make it really good when you're ending it in 4 more issues when it's only literally barely even begun? It literally hasn't even begun, you know? So I'm kind of worried about how, you know, what's he going to do to cram it in or whatever? I don't know. So it's fun. All I can say, it's fun. The art is eerie. That's another way to describe it. That abstract style. It's like bringing abstract fine art into illustration. And the black and white and gray shades in between that he produces with textures. Yeah, it gives it like an eerie feel. So it's very well suited for this type of a story, you know? So yeah, I don't want to say anything else. It's a lot of fun so far. It's great. I just wish it wasn't 6 issues because I feel like it can't possibly end well. You know, like I think a lot of us are going to be disappointed because yeah, it's either going to get, I don't know, end without really much having happened, or he's going to have to try to cram a bunch of stuff at the last sec. Like, I don't know. But so far so good. I definitely recommend it. Absolutely thumbs up for the first 2 issues so far. So definitely. Have a good one, Sean. Thank you. Thanks for dropping by, my friend. Be well. I know you got some tough days ahead. And hey, if you want to talk, if you're still listening or hearing this on Rewind, by all means, shout me out privately, man. We can always chat. If you want to just get your mind off stuff and have a little bit of a break from all the crappy stuff going on that you're going through, I'd be happy to shoot the shit with you privately. All right. So take care, Sean. Good night, Sean. Thank you, everybody, for being so nice as always to all our friends. It's really, that's what I love about my channel. It's the camaraderie, as I always say. Love it. I really love all you guys too for that, man. I agree with this assessment, but it's still quite enjoyable. Yeah, for sure. No, very. I said very enjoyable, Carl. I really am liking it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So that's it. I'm just worried. That's it. I'm worried because it is so good so far. That's why it worries me, because it's like, how is that possible that it's going to end? You know, we're already 33% of the way through it. It literally feels like it's only the first 2 scenes of a movie, you know? Cool new segment about reading. Yeah, if I had read a little bit more, I you know, who knows? Maybe I get a chance to read something this week, and then next week we could do a little bit more. Definitely, we'll touch upon the movies. I got some movie news to talk about, including Weapons. Indeed, Marcus, I did see it. I was, you know what? I was actually going to go out and watch Superman again. I was going to go watch Superman with a friend who hadn't seen it, but then he bailed on me. And in the end, I asked Arwen if she wanted to go see a movie. And then, you know, she was with her friend. And so I figured, okay, I'll invite her and her friend. I'll take them both to the movies. And I figured, you know, I figured Arwen would be okay watching Superman or Fantastic Four, which I would have watched again. But I'm not so sure her friend would have watched it. And then because you guys had said that Weapons was really good, that's why I was like, okay, well, that's an option too. So we that's what they wanted to see. So we went and watched Weapons. Let me tell you this about Weapons. I can tell you, speaking just for my girls, okay, Arwen and her friend. Hey, Victoria. I heard that she tried getting onto my channel once when Arwen told her about that I had a channel. Speaking just for them, they were screaming at some of the scares. So that was kind of funny to watch and see. But yeah, I loved it. So I will tell you that just so you guys have an idea of what I thought about it. But we can hopefully talk about that next week. Nuclear fallout never ends well. That is true. That is true, my friend, for sure. Did you go out for soup afterwards? No, but we did eat lunch beforehand. Yeah. And I'm with you. Also, quite possible it's a standard Image 6-issue mini to see how it's received. Right. Yeah, you never know exactly. That's I would hope so. But yeah, man, let's finish this one out, guys. Let's leave it at 3 hours and 20 minutes or so. I mean, for me, I still gonna spend about an hour and a half or so chopping this up, maybe into some chapters. For all the Rewind viewers out there, thank you guys as well, of course. But yeah, let's leave comic talk. Other than that, at least you get a little taste for next week. Hopefully, though, next week, like if we talk comics and movies, hopefully, other than Newell, hopefully at least one or two of you will also come in, especially somebody who wants to talk about movies because, you know, well, I want to have at least one other person with me live in the studio who saw Weapons. All right. So one of you, please, hopefully, can do that. I would appreciate that if you have the time. And hey, thank you. What's up, Nikki? Nick, I know you missed it, but at the top of the show, there was a lot of bad news from our hobby. I'm not going to repeat it now, so maybe go back and watch it, or you may already know about it. But we talked about it for quite some time. And because we talked about that topic, it completely sidetracked me. So I only did all the promos tonight. There were still almost 4 dozen people here, thankfully, so it was still good. But I did tonight's promo only about 10 minutes ago, 5 to 10 minutes ago. I did the promos. So in case you go back at the beginning, you're not going to find the promos there. It's not because I forgot to do them. I did forget to do them. I got sidetracked. That's it. Just letting you know that it was about 5 to 10 minutes ago. All right. I like good self-contained mini too. Yeah. But like I said, Kavi, it feels like, okay, another way to describe it is that this one feels like if you told me this was the first 2 issues of a limited series, I would think, based on what I've seen and read so far, I would think and hope, oh, it's the first 2 issues of about 20 issues total. Hopefully, you know what I mean? So yeah. So that's it. It moves quickly though. That's the thing. Because again, there's not a lot of dialogue or text captions, you know? And thank you everybody for hitting those likes. One last ask, if I may, please hit those likes. Hit that that thumbs up button somewhere around here if you don't mind. I'd appreciate that. Thank you again, Nikki, for coming back to do that. I appreciate it. Chapter chopping, no axe needed. Nikki back. He is. A lot of fun shows this week coming. Take care, everyone. Happy win. Oh, yeah, go have a loved one. Exactly. Hug a loved one. Absolutely, everybody. Thanks, Carl. Talk to you soon. Yeah, I got it in though. I got it in. Thankfully there were still, like I said, almost still 4 dozen people. So that was awesome. Okay, good. I figured anyways, you know. You're welcome. Absolutely, you're welcome. Interesting, informative show. Thank you, Matt and Rubén. I'll catch the YouTube video with the young Trevor. Yeah, ask try to see Tom. Tom goes by what on Facebook? Tom Derrick, DERRICK. He can reach out to you or find him. Please have found the site. Nice to have met you folks. Cheers, Rubén. Take care and good night to you all. Thank you so much, Loner Ranger. Appreciate it so much, my friend. Thank you so much. Not only for coming in for the first time when you found the channel, but also especially for being willing to not only stay this long, given that you're in the UK and it's very, very late in the morning there. What is it? 4:23 a.m. for you, but also and especially for being very, very willing, especially on your first time out on my channel, being very, very willing to participate in the chatting with all of us, given that you don't really know us. It's very important, and that's an easy way for people to get to know you and for you to get to know us, though. So really appreciate that, mate. Thank you so much. And yeah, I hope that you come back whenever you can, and we hope to see you soon. The name of the comic is News from the Fallout. Again, Tom, that's where I took this from. It's the logo. This is a very similar logo. I just changed it, and it's a similar logo, but it's called News from the Fallout. Okay, and that artwork you see in the back, that's from the series. All right, and yeah, so check it out. Yeah, and thanks, Goo. Appreciate you, bud. Take care yourself as well. Have a great week. God damn you! It's not my birthday again, everybody. For those of you who weren't here earlier, it is not my birthday. I swear to God, it's not. These guys like to fuck around and screw with me. Remember, today's $250 buyer will be tomorrow's $300 buyer. That is true. It's very true. You're very welcome, Lone Ranger. Absolutely, man. And as I said, no pressure, but give some thought to potentially doing a show and tell episode with me. And if you got questions, if you want to talk privately about the possibility of doing it, just ask me more questions, whatever. Reach out to me at that email I posted up onto the screen earlier when we talked about that. All right, don't be shy. And thanks, Tom, for posing. I was so focused on you talking, I missed it. It's all right, man. Good show. Thank you, Ilya. Matt and I may disagree on a few business basics, but a good discussion. No, exactly. And that's what I love about it, is that even Matt and I, you know, he's often my you know, riding shotgun with me and a co-host on my shows. And you may or may not have seen, but he and I have had butted heads in terms of just having differences of opinion where we just don't agree with each other at all. But it's always done with the utmost of respect. And right after it's over, I mean, like, it's just whatever. It's just, yeah, we're just discussing. We're having a great discussion. That's it. I love those kinds of discussions. People should always tell the truth on what they feel, and not just agree with somebody even though they don't really believe, you know, what they're saying they agree with, just to sort of get along. Nah, be honest, man. So I appreciate that. So always best to tell. And you guys, by the way, you too, Ilya, you and everybody else, give your opinion when you're in the chat. You guys know this. I don't really have to tell you, but for anybody new watching, you know, always come here. You always know that on this channel, at least, you can always come in and speak your mind honestly. That's what I want, in fact. That don't just, you know, don't be scared to go against what the rest of the majority might be thinking and saying. Be honest, and we treat everybody with respect, and we'll discuss each other's views. That's it, you know? Because I need to highlight my own comments. Sorry, did I miss something? And 5 years from now, a $3,000 buyer. Hopefully, that's it, you know? But hey, whatever is good for them, whatever they can afford, as long as they enjoy collecting, that's basically it. And that reminds me of something I did want to talk about that I never, you know, I was never able to get to, which had to do with my own collecting, and again, these horrible news that we had with people passing away this week. And it's just making me think again about wanting to sort of stop. But I just add really quickly right now that even though I would stop and try to maybe start selling off the collection, I will still collect in some way. But my hope is that I would be able to start maybe continue purchasing, like we talked about last week, where I stopped collecting the normal stuff, I you know, mainstream superhero stuff that I get, you know, pricey stuff, whatever, and only kind of stick to the really affordable, cheap stuff that we talked about in last week's episode of Comic Art 101, collecting on a smaller budget, you know. And that would be my hope. We'll see how it happens. We have another new one as we're ending tonight's show. We have another, what, for the third or fourth new. Is it the first time you're here, Christina Payne? Somebody tell me, are you an art collector? Answer us. Are you an art fan or collector? If you are, happy to have you. We are ending tonight's episode, though. I do it once a week, every Sunday, though, if you want to tune in next Sunday. And we'd love to have you. And we need more of that, disagreeing with Matt. When will you stop? I don't know. I mean, this is the difficult thing. It's really a mental struggle more than anything. It's just hard. It's hard to stop, right? It's like an addictive process. You also happen to love it. You know, you're passionate about something. You know, I got plenty of Clippers corner quips. I only tell lies. Honestly. Nice, Peter. I'm so hungry now. I need to make a sandwich. Go. Yes, I mentioned above about possibly coming on. Oh, sorry, man. Sorry. If I do a weapons discussion, but not important, can chat offline. Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll chat later this week anyways. But yeah, if you can make it, that'd be cool. Yeah, awesome. That'd be fun. That could be a really fun show next week. Fried bologna sandwich. Yeah. Oh wow. When we started the show, I usually only get on average, about 2 subscribers a week, Christina, because I tell people to not subscribe. I don't want people to subscribe unless they really want to be here and they intend to come back either live or occasionally on rewind, you know. I want my subscribers as much as possible just to be viewers, right? So that's why I tell people generally don't subscribe unless you think you're going to be at least a semi-regular viewer. So that's why I only average about 2 subscribers per week. And at the beginning of the show, I had 690. In fact, this past week, I lost 1. I was down 1. I gained 1 and then I lost it. So funny to see that all of a sudden I got 3 new ones while I've been doing the show. So that's fun. Thank you for letting me know on that update. Buy 1, sell 2, right? Thanks as always, Mike, for being here, pal. I appreciate it. I could become a commissioner. No. That's another sort of rabbit hole. No. I you know what, guys? I will tell you. I will tell you another little secret for the few of you who are still remaining. You guys remember last week I showed you a piece, one of my last pieces of the evening that I showed you last week. Yes. Thank you for welcoming her, Peter. We need more people and more girl power. But some of you who were here last week, you might remember one of the last pieces that I showed was a piece, a comic strip called The Diary of Rock and Pop, right? Related to music. And we talked about Steve McGarry, the artist. I talked to you a little bit about him. And so the good news is that I took it upon myself to reach back out to him to see if I could maybe restart talks with him. And the good news is that he replied, and we've been chatting for the last few days. And so the good news is I'm probably going to be able to pick up some more art from my collection from him. The bad news simultaneously is that because it's been a few years since I last tried to get art from him, and he still goes, he for the last few years has continued to go to San Diego Comic-Con, plus WonderCon and other smaller cons in the Southern California area. All of the stuff that I wanted is all gone now, and he's down to very, very few pieces. And most of the ones that he has don't really have, you know, the most popular musicians. You know, still gonna buy some though. Still gonna buy some. But anyway, so I'm happy. So that's the kind of stuff I'm gonna kind of move towards. But anyways, we could talk about that next week. So. Hey, there you go. A response from Christina. I don't know if the yes was for me, and then another yes. Sorry, Christina, I'm behind the 8 ball here. The forecast is for Payne. Hello, and another yes, and then I never had one. Hi, yay, another hi, Cobby. So does anybody actually know Christina? Do you guys know her? Or is she just being very friendly to you? Does anybody know her? And it sounds like some of you know her. Hey there, Christina, #1 Marvel fan. And I really don't want to be here, but I heard it's Ruben's birthday. It is not my birthday. Ruben will be what? I'll be 55. I'll be 55. Oh my gosh. Getting old sucks. Thank you. You know, you're very welcome. So yeah, just FYI. I do different types of shows. Like next week will be another episode of Comic Art Hangout, like tonight, where anything goes. So we'll talk about whatever comes up, whatever people want to talk about. It seems like next week we're already moving towards talking about some movies that we all have seen lately and want to talk about. Maybe some comics we've read. So it's not, you know, Hangout is the one show where we can kind of stray from talking about original art all the time, you know? And so, yeah, but I do other series which are shows focused more on original art, like comic art show and tell, comic art commissions, comic art roundtable, where it's several of us here and on screen talking about specific topics. Yeah, so a whole bunch of different types of shows. Yeah, man, I hope you come back. That would be great. It'd be great to have you become an occasional viewer whenever you can. I don't know if you have heard about Comics Curing Cancer. I have 33 different artists doing hearts for the auction. Hearts, okay. And other art pieces are coming in. October, well, I wish you would have come in earlier so we could have helped you promote it. October 24th to 26th. Check out if you like art and comics. Okay. I have heard of Comics Curing Cancer, so I'll Google that and it'll probably take me there, you know. But Christina, let me. Okay, sounds good. I mod for a lot of streams, so people might know me, and I'm a finalist in the CBA. Oh, okay, CBC Awards. Okay, I'll be back definitely. Sounds good. And listen, Christina, if you like, I know you still have time because it's you know, October 24th to 26th. But if you want, here, let me put this on screen. Hopefully you're still listening. Where is it? Sorry. No, here. So that's the name of the channel, and that's me, Rubén the Collector, and Gmail, right? It's easy to remember, but if you, in case you forget, just come back to the rewind and come back to the 3 hours and 36-minute point of the video. Email me there if you want. And if you'd like, I'd be more than happy next week or any of the in any of the weeks upcoming before the auction. If you'd like to come in, and again, as early as next week, whenever you want, we can discuss you coming in at the beginning of the show. Let's say next week or whatever week you want to do it. Even if you want to come in for a few minutes, you know, in multiple weeks, whatever you want. I'd be happy to have you come in on screen if that's, you know, if being on camera is something you're willing to do, just to explain what the Comics Curing Cancer is all about, you know, verbally, rather than just in a quick post in the live chat. I think that would go further to helping bring awareness to it. So just something that I think is a good idea, but it's up to you, no pressure. But yeah, if you want to do something like that, email me at that email address I just posted, okay? And have seen your channel and name before in comic channel chats. Okay, great. So yeah, everybody, thank you again so much for tuning in. As everybody is, sounds good, Christina. Thank you, sounds good. Yeah, perfect timing. I'm gonna jet too. We are getting out of here, everybody. Fun show. Thanks, Kavi, as always. Peace, brother. And thank you again to all of you who are always here, especially you regulars. Can't do it without you. And it's because of you and those of you who want to be here live and chat every week and interact with me and with each other. The channel doesn't exist without you, right? So thank you so much. And wow, what the heck's going on? But don't worry, the way things go on my channel, Goo, is by the time next episode comes up, there will be 692. Because 3 of them all have dropped out. But it's okay. Like I said, I want people to unsubscribe if they can remember, you know, that they don't watch my channel anymore. I want them to unsubscribe, so that's good. And yeah, I don't want people just hitting subscribe just because they think they're doing me a favor. I don't want those types of subscribers at all. Only people who want to watch. But thanks for letting me know. Josh says, being newer to the hobby, the aspect I enjoy about this channel is the fluidity the format allows for me to get a pulse in the hobby from all of you more experienced collectors. That's fantastic. And that's a big part of the reason also that I do this, Josh. You know, the interactivity about it all. Because it's not just for me. I do it for everybody. And the beautiful thing is that there's a lot of experience, especially cumulative experience. I mean, I've been in the hobby 28, 29 years. But a lot of the people in the chat have also been in for decades. But even the people that have only been in it for a few years have gained a lot of experience and have a lot of knowledge. You know, so cumulatively, there's always a lot to be learned here, and there's always people that let us know in the chat that they're appreciative of the fact that they learn something, you know, from the shows from time to time. So yeah, it's great, and I appreciate having you, man. So thank you, and yeah, appreciate the kudos, man, and thank you for being here. Yeah, appreciate you coming back fairly regularly lately as well. So yeah, all I can say is thank you. I appreciate it, and I do hope you continue to come back whenever time allows, man. And eventually, Josh, if you've got a large enough collection, I'd be happy to do an episode, if you're not the shy type, do an episode of Comic Art Show and Tell with you, where you come into the studio with me, and I'll pop pieces of your collection on the screen, and you get to talk about them. We'll talk about them, and we'll talk with everybody else. Yeah. So think about it. And I learned today is not Ruben's birthday. Thank you. That's the best thing to learn. Thank you, because that's the truth. And oh my God, I can't get out of here because new people keep popping in. Mike at Sid Slayer Station. What's up, buddy? Oh, what's up, dude? Good to see you, pal. We're actually closing up shop for tonight. Yeah, for the week. Yeah, we've been on for 3 hours 41 minutes. So it's time to go. It's time to go. You know. Almost hit 700. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. 5 people subscribed while we were live. That's crazy. But yeah, so I'm gonna get out of here, everybody. I unfortunately don't have, as you know, I don't have any thumbnail to show you for next week. And oh yeah, please do, man. Please come back next week. And it's gonna be another hangout episode. And next week we're gonna chat a bit about. We didn't have a chance to talk about movies tonight. And only a tiny bit about comics. So I'm hoping that we'll put that as the focus next week. Some movies that we want to talk about. Weapons, if anybody hasn't watched it and you intend to, please try to watch it this week if you can, so that you know what's going on. I'd like to be able to say spoilers if we can. I'm not saying we will, but I'd like to. So we'll see what happens next week. Going viral. The entire week Ruben is closed. Exactly. I only open shop once a week, you know. But anyways, for real, I gotta get out of here, everybody. I gotta start chopping this video up for the rewind watchers. So oh yeah, everybody, catch us Red Sonja, Nikki B's executive produced Red Sonja on video on demand. Check it out. Friday. Thank you, Marcus. All right, everybody, thank you. I will leave you out with my ugly face because, like as I said, I do not have a thumbnail for next week done. So that's it. As always, everybody, have a great week. Enjoy the final week, I guess, of summer, technically. And yeah, and then we're headed into the fall here with September rolling around. So later, see you, Tom. See you, everybody. And don't forget Nikki B, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And of course, yes, indeed, baby. Yes, indeed. As always, everyone, as always, as #1 Marvel fan, Tom Derrick himself says, go blue.